The podcast on Haunted Hill will contain spoilers and swearing.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
Please hold this, Michael. Be one of us.
I didn't tell you my name.
Hang up.
I didn't tell them my name.
They're all part of it. They're all parts of
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Hello and welcome to the podcast on Haunted Hill, episode 119.
No, 19.
I was going to do that. 19.
Sorry.
Quite a bad song actually, but it was an early use of like the sampler, taking some war samples from Vietnam War and the age of what was it? The average age of a soldier was 19. 19.
And of course, we had the same conversation and made the same joke when we did episode 19 100 episodes ago, because
We probably did.
that's
For
what we
sure.
did.
Yeah. My name's
Who are you?
Gav. You are
Dan.
backwards Nad.
Backwards. Vag.
Hello, this is Nad and Vag. Again, sounds like a sex one. Well, that would be our Face the Moose podcast, wouldn't it? Nad and Vag.
Yeah.
Nads and Vag.
So Nads, for anyone who's not from the UK, Nad, my name backwards, Nad, is slang for a testicle. Nad.
And a Vag would be slang for Le Virginie.
Le Virginie.
Le Virginie.
But we've already escalated into chaos. We've not even...
This is like a couple of minutes in.
Literally, like, I got a message from our friend RJ, who was listening to our last episode. He says it's been about 3 minutes into this, your episode 118, and Gav's already explaining to you the difference between softcore and hardcore porn. How are you already on this in a Valentine's episode?
Yeah. Well, that's easy. That answers it there. How are you ready on this? On a Valentine's episode.
Valentine's.
Because it's sexy. This one isn't, but this episode is a build of major erections, just like your average construction worker.
There's a couple of mighty erections in this episode, actually.
We're talking about big, stiff concrete buildings towering up in the air.
Yeah. Weird. It's a bit of a weird one, this one, but it's two films that came out at the same time, and we're fans of them both, and we figured, you know what, it's our show, we'll cover them. They're not really horror. There is some horrific stuff that happens in them. There's a lot of violence and blood and throat slitting and headshots.
But they're both very similar and came out at the same time, like when Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright brought out The World's End, then you also had This Is the End come out at the same time, and sometimes you just get these things, don't you? We've discussed this before, haven't we?
We had Armageddon and Deep Impact.
And obviously, you do get obviously studios do it. Then someone else goes, "Oh, another studio's doing it. We had that idea. Quick, we must get into production." And there's like a race, which is a bit weird, but yeah. This is two same sort of films. One's Indonesian, and the other is American. Oh, yeah, I think it's just North America.
But filmed in South Africa.
Oh, really? I didn't even look. Have you gone through all the facts and trivia?
Got some crazy trivia, actually. So The Raid is the first one, or The Raid Redemption as it's called, is the first movie we'll be looking at in today's episode. 2011. As Gav said, it's Indonesian. It's a martial arts, balls to the wall.
With a Welsh director.
With a Welsh director, I was going to say. I'd love to have been on set.
Hello,
lovely. Now look, lovely man.
Hit him harder.
Wow. Hit him harder.
Yeah.
Brilliant. But also, we'll obviously talk about Iko Uwais, if I pronounce that. I always never know if I'm pronouncing that right. The main actor who's since gone on to be in lots of things. He's going to be in one of the Expendables movies that are coming out soon.
Netflix film just come out has got him in, actually. It's literally just come out recently.
I saw that. I think it's called something like Fist of Vengeance or A Fistful of Vengeance or something.
Doesn't get a very high review on IMDb, unfortunately.
Shit name. It sounds like a Steven Seagal movie.
I think someone's saying it's a bit of a kind of trying to do Jackie Chan.
What?
What? Your mate Chan?
Don't touch my Jackie.
Don't touch your Chang.
So this will be our first martial arts romp.
Ooh. It will.
So that's cool. And we paired it up with, as you probably guessed, another film that came out the same year. Judge Dredd starring Sylvester Stallone. Oh, no, not that one.
I've only seen that once. Wasn't Wesley Snipes the baddie in it?
No, you're thinking of Demolition Man.
Okay. What's the Judge Dredd with Sly like?
Well, I watched it when it came out when I was 15. I remember it was my friend Rob's 15th birthday, and it was our 15, and we went in to see it and enjoyed it at the time. Then I watched it years later and thought that was terrible. Then I watched it again not long after the Dredd first came out, and I thought, do you know what? It's got its tongue in cheek and it's funny. The worst bit about it is it's got Rob Schneider in it.
Oh, right, okay.
As the comic relief.
Oh, God.
And also, as everybody famously knows, Stallone, you can't put Stallone in your movie and leave his helmet on, so he takes the helmet off all the time, which Judge Dredd never, ever, 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 ever does.
Like in the one we're doing, he doesn't.
Yes.
And it's an actor that people knew, Cole Irwin. They knew his face, but yeah, they kept with it, which is good.
They actually asked him to. There was a scene where they just debated it, and Cole Irwin said, "I will not take the helmet off." And in fact, he didn't take the helmet off during shooting, in between takes. But we'll talk about that when we come to it. So the Dreadlock Holiday. Dreadlock Holiday. No, Dredd from 2012. So they were both came out around at the same time in the UK.
An action film coming from a comic book.
Yeah.
So we will discuss all that stuff when we get to it.
And the link there, the link there is, for anyone that doesn't know or hasn't seen them, is they both take place in high-rise buildings, with the object being to get from the bottom to the top, really.
And our heroes getting stuck and having to get out, basically.
Getting locked in. And there's even the same intercom.
These movies are really, really similar, but we're getting to them. Yes, we're doing those, which is quite fun films to do. Not necessarily horror, like you said, but we do like a horror, don't we? What else going on?
What else is going on?
Time Team?
Time Team, got it all revved up. The machine's all ready to go back to 2019. I don't need to rev it up as hard anymore because it's only 3 years ago.
Air it out though?
No, never. Never.
So stanky in there.
I know. It adds to the charm.
And obviously, World of the Strange.
Yeah, World of the Strange. Bill is arriving. I'm just worried, actually. He's not here yet, but I'm sure he'll be on time. Bill Murray will be here to welcome us to World of the Strange. Apparently, Gav, I don't know if it's true. Apparently, he said to me in a text, I'm bringing you and Gav a little blue pill each. I don't know what that means.
Matrix or something.
Is it Matrix?
Is Bill Murray going to be the new star of the Matrix?
I don't know. He said he's going to bring us a little blue pill each, and it will stiffen things up. So we'll see what he says.
All right. What have you been watching? Anything?
Yeah. So I haven't watched loads, but I did make time to work my way randomly through a Japanese trilogy from the 70s, which is basically Japan copying Hammer Horror and doing it very well, actually. So I came across this. It's called the Bloodthirsty Trilogy, and the individual films are called The Vampire Doll, which is from 1970, followed by Lake of Dracula, which is 1971, and then Evil of Dracula from 1974. Now, the names are a bit of a lie, because Dracula's not actually in any of them, but there is a male vampire in one or two of them. They get slightly worse. Like the first one is definitely the best one, and the next one isn't quite as good, and the last one is probably about the same as the second one. But they're stylish. They're so gothic. I came across these because Bo Ransel's podcast, The Dark Parade, they covered the first one, which is The Vampire Doll. And I thought, that sounds really good. And then I found out it was actually on my Prime list to watch, and I just hadn't got around to it. Then I found out it was a trilogy. So over the course of a week, I watched each of them.
Are they
really
on Prime?
They are on Prime, yeah. They're 99p to rent.
Okay.
And I think if you've got Arrow subscription, they're free. But they're really worth a watch. each directed by the same director, Michio Yamamoto. And some of the actors and actresses cross over, but really unique look with golden eyes for the vampire, some great blood, and when you watch them, you're really, really reminded of Hammer. Lots of bright red blood, a couple of boobs here and there as well, lots of sort of great music scores. So imagine all of the stuff you normally see in a Hammer horror film, but taking place in Japan in the early 70s. Fantastic. Highly recommend all three of them. Really, really good. So that's pretty much what I've been watching. What about you?
Well, the posters looked quite good, but then again, I used to fall for that in the 80s in the video shop.
Oh yeah, we've all rented out Bud the Chud 2 because of the poster.
It wasn't even a great poster, actually. It's a hand coming out the back of the car, I think, out of the boot of the car. I
remembered.
Yeah. But they looked quite interesting, so I might have to have a little go. I say that, I forget, but I might do, you know.
I really recommend it. The first one is an hour and 10 minutes long. In fact, they're all about an hour and 10 minutes. They're really short. So it's not going to be much of your time, really, wasted if you don't like it. But they're good. They're good stuff.
I've watched some bits and bobs. I'm still watching Magnum, to be honest with you.
Of course you are.
Yeah, it's quite good. It's not bad, you know. Except it keeps having Vietnam flashbacks. But anyway, last night I went with Mark to the cinema. We had a little date. So we went to Taco Bell, and then we went to watch Studio 666 on
hello to Mark. Sorry, just hello, Mark.
Hello. On recommendation of my lovely Sarah. I'd seen the trailer. The trailer didn't really pull me in. I was a bit like, okay, and I was a bit like, the Foo Fighters. I'm not a big Foo Fighters fan. Some of their songs are kind of catchy and all right, but I'm not that interested. I'm a massive Nirvana head. Not saying that I should divide my. I'm not going to like them because I like Nirvana. That's what I'm just saying. Though. I'm never really into Foo Fighters. Anyway, they're making a horror movie, and I was a bit like. Okay, like that. Then Sarah just went to see it, said it's real good, you'd really like it. And I was like, I'll give it a go, because I've seen Mark Commode said if it had come out in the 80s, it had been on the banned nasty list.
Wow.
Because it's really gory, and I thought, well, do that. And I went along to watch it and fucking loved it. Really, really, really like it. You've got a cameo from John Carpenter in it, playing on as a sound engineer recording.
Yeah, I've heard he's in it.
He does some music with Cody, his son, for the theme tune. And it's a real tongue-in-cheek movie, basically. Very much an 80s movie. It's pretty much just in a house where a band went a bit crazy and killed some people, the lead singer of the band, and some other stuff happened. And they decided to go there and record. And Dave Grohl finds in the basement some old recordings from another band, and he's like, that's amazing. So he steals the riff because he can't think of what to do. He keeps coming up with ideas for songs, and they're like, yeah, we did that song 20 years ago. And he's like, oh, damn. It's all right tongue-in-cheek. They all play themselves. And Dave Grohl is not bad. He can kind of act. He can get away with it, sort of thing. The rest of his band are terrible, like so bad at times. Their acting is so bad. But there's one guy in it called Pat. It's like this grey-haired guy who's in the band, and his acting was so bad. But through the movie, he was really endearing. Just real sweet, and like. Once you kind of get into the movie and go, okay, this is really tongue-in-cheek, and they know exactly what they're making here. They're making a gory 80s type horror movie. As soon as you get into that and know that they're just having a laugh, you can kind of go along with it and just really, really enjoy it and stuff. I don't want to get into too much because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but there's loads of really, really, really gory stuff. Just classic stuff, kind of early Peter Jackson type stuff. And it just felt kind of almost like Bloodbath at the House of Death, that Kenny Everett movie. Kind of that in a way, if that makes sense. See,
I'm a big fan of... There's that weird subgenre in horror of like rock and roll horror.
Yeah.
Because we covered Trick or Treat many years ago.
Loads of obscure ones as well. Like loads of
some really good ones. And so to me, I haven't watched the trailer for it. I watched... Pick of Destiny, I think it is, Tenacious D, and Dave Grohl was in that, I believe, if I remember rightly. I might be wrong.
Yeah, Sarah said he was, because I said I quite enjoyed watching him play drums. He was checking out his drum kit in this house, and I was like, oh, it's quite nice to see Dave Grohl on the old drum kit again, you know.
Yeah.
And she said he plays drums in that film.
Yeah, so because I do like the Jack Black sort of the Tenacious D stuff. So to me, I haven't seen the trailer, but when I heard about it, I thought I was imagining potentially a Jack Black style rock film, but horror. Because we had one recently. We had Band Candy. That was another one that came out recently.
I don't know.
Was it called Band Candy? Is that what it was called?
Sure.
Yeah. And Deathgasm. Deathgasm!
Yeah, it's more in the vein of Deathgasm because the humour, there's loads of humour throughout it and really full-on gore. But yeah, real tongue-in-cheek, very much like Orgasm. You could probably do it as a double bill with
Not Orgasm. Fucking hell, Gal.
Deathgasm. You could do it as a double bill with Deathgasm, not Orgasm.
You could double bill it with your orgasm.
You could do.
Oh.
It's really, really, really fun. If you can get to cinema to watch it, I would definitely recommend it because it was real fun film to watch.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of time for a cinema at the moment because of babies, but I am...
I'm saying to all our listeners too, though.
Yes, of course. Not just me. Oh, yeah, I forget that we're not just talking to each other.
But watch it at home, obviously, it's just as good, as long as you can watch it, you know.
I think my monthly cinema pass is going to go on Batman. I think.
Yeah.
I've heard it's good. Very good.
Yeah, well, Tom messaged me to tell me it's quite good. And I said, like, I'm not really into my superhero films, really. He said it's not really He said it's kind of like Seven.
Yeah, I've heard everyone saying it's like Seven.
Kind of like Seven mixed with the Zodiac Killer one, Zodiac. And I was a bit like, oh, okay. So I guess in the way it's lit, like Fincher style, and the way it's dark and moody, like Fincher's films.
And the trailer makes it look incredibly violent. There's one bit where Batman just pounds a guy's head into literally liquid by the looks of it. So
I might check it out. I'll probably check it out actually. I don't mind Batman. So Batman and Superman. Batman and Spider-Man. Those ones I don't mind.
They're your boys, aren't they?
Yeah, they're right. I grew up with those actually. I sold my magnetic Batman on eBay this week actually.
So, and how much did you get for it?
$50.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I probably, I could probably held out and tried to get more, but it's like I don't care. It was mine when I was a kid. It's an object that I don't care. Now it's gone. I don't go, oh,
well, funny enough,
I still had it. I don't care.
Small tangent off the back of that. My dad is selling our family home, and is very close to moving out.
Have you had to go through the loft and go through shit?
So we went yesterday. We went
it
over.
Like the Goonies?
Gav.
Tell me you found a treasure map for One-Eyed Willie.
I found over here my box of cassette tapes, all my 90s rap tapes. Which Alice has bought me. My birthday come out. She's now gone ahead and bought me a tape/CD player for the kitchen, so I can relive my childhood listening to all my hip hop tapes. I can't wait.
I've still got a few.
It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was going through all this stuff, and I haven't really got time to go through it all at the moment. I said to my dad, you might have to bin most of it, but I've kept a few bits. One thing I did find was, and it's a bit controversial because of things he may or may not have done, but I forgot I was given, when I was very young, 8 or 9, I was given a Michael Jackson 9-disc 7-inch vinyl set of his first 9 singles by my uncle in a fold-out wallet thing.
I might be able to flog them.
Well, I went on eBay, and because they're pressed on red vinyl, it's worth 400 quid.
You joking?
What? Well, some people have paid as much as 400 quid for it, so I'll probably stick that on eBay.
Or put them on Discogs.
You reckon?
Yeah, I haven't been on Discogs really much, but I've been told by my people up there with the vinyl. I've got some friends who are really in there with their vinyl. They send on there. They say that's the best place to go.
Okay, thank you.
For something like that, I think, yeah.
That was a funny little tangent, but there is major news in the horror world, Gav. 2 pieces of information that we've discussed off air and talked about in WhatsApp messages. And I'm not talking about you sending me...
We talk loads. You'd have to give me a recap on that one.
First of all, randomly, thank you so much for outing me and my...
Your He-Man erection.
My He-Man erection when you sent me that picture of He-Man and Skeletor reenacting Ghost.
I saw someone on Facebook the other day said, "Isn't He-Man the shittest name?" And I was like, He-Man. It is quite a bad name.
You're winding me up. I'm getting angry now.
It's quite a bad name though, isn't it?
No.
She-Go, He-Man.
He's the most powerful man in the universe.
He-Man.
Yes.
Okay.
So anyway, the two pieces of exciting news in the horror world. One of these is that there is another Amityville film coming out, and finally.
Finally,
I think this is the 30th
they're
Amityville
taking a tip
movie.
from Elon Musk and all these rich billionaires, aren't they?
It's called Amityville in Space.
I thought you were taking the piss. I thought he's taking the Michael Bliss. What's he doing sending me this? What's that all about then?
I looked this up the other day. I think there's around almost 30
What, films in space?
Amityville movies.
That can't be. That's a ridiculous number.
Gav, I'm not joking. They recently released Amityville Moon, which is a...
That's because they're not all built to franchise, because you can just put a movie and just put in the title Amityville and not actually have anything to do with the story.
That's exactly what's happened.
Yeah. It's a cash cow, isn't it? Well, it's not a cash cow. They're trying to use it as a cash fodder.
I'm just... Probably should have had this information to hand here, but I can just very quickly tell you there are 28 Amityville
associated
films.
Or word associated.
And that doesn't include Amityville in Space, so that will be, I think, the 29th one.
Well, I think, Dan, we make number 30. Dan and Gav in the Amityville house.
So let me randomly tell you some of these. Amityville Cop, Amityville High, Amityville Moon, Amityville Clown House,
Right.
Amityville Exorcism, obviously Amityville in Space.
Don't go through all of them.
Amityville Toy Box.
I thought it was going to say Toy Boy.
No, but that's it. But yeah, so Amityville in Space is a real film. And there's another film which I'm excited about, Gav, isn't there? Because it's about sharks, and I do love sharks. And this film is called Sharkula.
I know.
And
Paige and Dan Bone.
this is a synopsis. The curse of Count Dracula lives on in shark-infested waters, claiming the lives of a tourist community. A sea hunt for a new species of shark results in monsters, madness, and bloodshed. This great white is putting the bite back into terror, and it has the help of a new aid of vampire sharks, intent on seeing it survive.
Yeah. Sounds so good.
It sounds great.
Can you watch it?
Yeah.
To be fair, I would probably even give that a ganders.
So it's still in production. It's expected to be completed June this year, and then it'll be available to watch.
Oh, they're teasing us.
And the funny thing is, when I typed in Sharkula to find out a bit more about it, and I told Gav this, dear listeners, off air, I came up with a rapper called MC Sharkula, who had an album out in 2010.
Is it legit, or like it's just like
it's
a dude?
legit.
It's just, okay.
And the album was called Diarrhea of a Madman.
It just. I bet the words just spewed out of him, didn't they?
Oh, pooey.
Oh.
So there we go. So that's, guys, if you're excited about horror as we are, we've been running this podcast for over 8 years now. Amityville in Space, Sharkula.
Dan's excited.
I'm very excited.
I'm excited for Dan's excitement. It's incredible how that works.
It rubs off on you. Yeah.
Oof.
I'm always rubbing.
It's not
always
even the
rubbing off
Valentine's episode anymore.
Now, talking of rubbing off and erections.
Well, it wasn't, but yeah.
Have you got anything else you wanted to talk about before I run down some erection-related horror films? Sorry, high-rise-related horror films.
No, not really. No, we're still going to be Deadbolt Films doing a convention this year, which is quite exciting. It's quite nice to be doing it. We're going to do a workshop on indie filmmaking, which is quite cool. A little panel.
That's very good. Do you have the date of that yet, or the month at least?
I do. It's in November. It'll be in Southampton. It's over a weekend. There's loads of people there, which is quite cool. Loads of different things. There's lots of memorabilia. Like the biggest, I think, I don't know if that's true. The biggest Child's Play memorabilia or something. I don't know.
Wow. What biggest collection of?
Yeah, collection of, yeah.
Not just like the biggest Chucky doll.
Massive Chucky doll.
That would be terrifying.
So that's quite cool. But no, I can't really think of anything at the moment. I have watched stuff, obviously, but I forget.
Okay. Well, in honour of the two films which we are reviewing, which are The Raid and Dredd, both setting in high-rise buildings, I thought it'd be fun, before we do our first review, to have a look at some horror films set in high-rise buildings.
Please.
So this isn't a horror film, but I thought I could not mention Game of Death, because you see Bruce Lee fighting his way up all the different levels, don't you?
I thought of that when watching The Raid earlier on this morning when I got up. I was like, I need to watch that. And then when he's having a fight with one of the bad henchmen, major henchmen of the film, when he starts out, I was like, this is like Bruce when he's battling up the bosses, battling up the henchmen to get to the boss. It's very much similar. They
missed the trick in the 80s. They could have made that into like a Sega video game, because all video games, you're always battling your way up the different levels anyway.
That'd have been so
Game
good.
of Death is literally Bruce Lee fighting different guys on different levels of a pagoda.
Just go up a ladder. Bang, go up the next ladder.
Then you'd have like the nunchuck level where you're like, oh, it'd be so good. But anyway,
sounds like a SNES game.
There we go. So I just wanted to mention that. But here we go. So we got The Dark Tower from 1989. Have you seen that?
Stephen King. No, that's The Dark Half. Dark Tower.
The Dark Tower is a
that's the gunslinger of Stephen King. Yeah, but they made one recently, didn't they?
That is The Dark Tower you're thinking of, but this is the 1989 film, completely different to the one that you're thinking of.
Well, that's why I'm confused. I don't know. I've not seen the 89. No.
It tells the story of a haunted high-rise in Barcelona that's terrorizing an architect after she witnesses the death of a window cleaner during the film's opening minutes.
Okay.
So there we go. Apparently it's Larry Cohen.
Okay.
Interesting. Here's another one. And I'm a big fan of this one, and I know you are too. Land of the Dead from 2005.
Yeah, it's quite a fun film, but there's not much of a high-rise in it. Land of the Dead, so there's a lot more of the city.
That's true, but there is some stuff in it, because obviously Dennis Hopper is locked in the high-rise building, etc.
Are you going to say that movie with that lady, British actor, and it had... It's set in the high-rise building. I think we watched it.
I think you're talking about high-rise.
No, not high-rise.
Okay, well that was the next one on my list, high-rise.
Okay, I'm going to look this up just in case you don't do it.
Yeah, no worries. High-rise, which I think is a Ben Wheatley film, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, it was. I didn't say it's based on a book, but apparently not very good. So I haven't seen it actually.
It's got Tom Hiddleston in it. I've not seen it either, but I've heard lots and lots of good things about it. I will get around to it at some point. What about The Lift?
Is that a Dick Maas movie?
It's from 1985. I don't think it's Dick Maas, no. It's after a lightning storm mysteriously brings an elevator to life. I'm already on board with this.
I think I've seen it.
The evil lift suffocates lots and lots of partygoers, decapitates a janitor, and kills many other people. This sounds great.
I think I've seen it. I'm sure. Is it European?
Yes, I think it is. Yeah, I think it's Spanish by the looks of it.
Okay.
Another one which finishes on a high rise. Got to mention Ghostbusters. You know.
Yeah. You can do that.
It will take place, in that building at the end. Demons 2. Got to mention that.
Very much. Yep.
It's the birthday party gone wrong.
I've got a film here, but you might mention it. So if you do, I'll just go. That's the one.
Okay. 1408. Big fan of that. I know you are.
Yeah, it's quite a fun film actually. It goes a bit towards the end. I kind of a little bit, but I do like the build up and the mystery element.
It's one of those ones where I enjoy the ride. The end is a bit naff, but I enjoy the ride.
It's
Samuel Jackson, I think, is in it as well. It's good stuff. 1408, and a Stephen King as well. One that we've covered, which is Cronenberg Shivers. Takes place in a high-tech, high-rise building. And that was good. I really enjoyed that as well. Makes the building very claustrophobic, so everyone gets locked in.
Well, it's like you know me, single locations of people stranded and stuck. That applies for all these tower blocks as well. I quite like that.
You quite like being isolated with a giant erection?
Stuck with a giant erection.
Gremlins 2, The New Batch.
Absolutely.
That is a phenomenal film, and I'm surprised we haven't covered it actually. But the Clamp Towers gets locked down, and obviously then the Gremlins pour in. What more do you want, really?
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. And then the last one on my list, Gav, so I don't think it is the one you're thinking of. The last one on my list is Poltergeist 3.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true.
The more I watch Poltergeist 3, the more I like it. It's got some good stuff with like the mirrors.
I need to watch it again.
Yeah, it's pretty decent actually. I think it's the only Poltergeist movie that's on Netflix randomly. Because they always put like a random sequel.
They do. They never get the originals. Obviously it's not horror, but obviously the most classic movie ever is Die Hard.
Of course. Of course. Absolutely.
But it's not horror, so But Tower Block.
Tower Block. Oh yes, we saw that at Fright Fest.
Yeah, we saw it. Yeah.
Yes, that was good. So that was like a cross between Saw and I don't know. It was a guy taking them out like with a sniper, and he had different like booby traps around the tower blocks, didn't he? Like there was a mine in the.
It's really good. Yeah, it's really, really good. And they're all stuck on that one floor, and they're trying to get them out of there because they want to knock it down, and that floor of residents wouldn't leave.
Yeah, that was really good. We watched that at Fright Fest many years ago and really enjoyed that. I remember now. And then we met Sheridan Smith afterwards.
Yeah,
well, was very nice.
Yeah, because I went outside and coming through the door was Sheridan Smith, and it was Chad Wade. And then she gave me a big hug, and then Chad Wade to me, and then I was like, I think she thinks I'm someone else. Or she's just really, really. She was very, very, very nice person, but I'm pretty sure she thinks I was someone else. And then we started chatting about actors and what she's up to. What are you up to? And yeah.
Yeah, because I remember coming along thinking, Gav's chatting to Sheridan Smith. I'm going to go over there, and I thought you must know her. You must have met her before, but
no, she was just like super nice, or thought I was legitimately someone else.
There we go.
So yeah.
Well, there's some high-rise horror or associated.
But I like that film, so do check out Tower Block if you've not seen it.
Yeah, it's a 2012,
man.
There we go. Yeah,
10 years ago.
That was the year we went to see older. So that came out the same year as these films.
That's when we were Pimpin' in Shadow of Death.
Yeah, so it came out the same year as these two as well, really. Which is crazy, really. So we had lots of films about tower blocks coming out this year.
I actually think The Raid possibly even played at Fright Fest.
Wow.
I think it possibly did.
And The Raid is now on Shudder. You know, we're saying it's not a horror film, but weirdly it is on Shudder UK.
Well, it's because it isn't, but it has a whiff of horror, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it in just a moment, but it really, when the gore amps up, the gore really amps up. Some good stuff. Well,
all right, okay.
Should we do it? Should we raid?
Yes.
All right, then. Well, let's have a little trailer, and when we come back, we'll discuss the Indonesian martial arts mayhem of The Raid Redemption.
I sound like a really bad James Brown. Tap my head.
You sound a bit like Tasmanian Devil as well.
No, let's get out of here before I say something weird. But
kedatangan tamu tak diundang. Selamat bekerja. Dan jangan lupa bersenang-senang.
first high-rise erection film for this episode.
Today, indeed. And our first martial arts movie, really. Proper.
Yeah.
We not done Enter the Dragon.
No, we haven't, no.
No. But we haven't really stepped upon martial arts at all.
No.
I can't even think of any martial arts slightly being involved in a movie.
There's, in Brain Dead, there's the vicar who does his martial arts, but
about it. And obviously you got that which we never covered, that Hammond and Shaw brothers film.
Yeah,
when,
Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires.
Yeah, studios got together, but yeah, martial arts we haven't. So, and I thought earlier, I was like, I think this review is going to be short. It's going to be like half hour, maybe 40 minutes, because it's going to be like, and then there's a fight sequence. So we're not going to, but we can talk about how good they are and how impressive the editing is as well in this film.
Yeah, I can't wait to discuss that.
It's a well-made film, so yeah.
The Raid Redemption, sometimes just called The Raid, from 2011. And the synopsis goes, a SWAT team becomes trapped in a tenement run by a ruthless mobster and his army of killers and thugs, and boy, are they killers and thugs, Gav. They are fucking vicious, these boys. So that's it. It's directed by Gareth Evans from Wales, Indonesian cast, filmed in Indonesia, and features the Indonesian martial art of pencak silat, which is incredible on camera, actually. Really effective martial art on camera. Really works with editing quite nicely. The way it's very sort of bang, 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 and you can edit nicely to it. Do you know what I mean? It's very rhythmic.
Oh yeah, of course. I didn't think of that. Yeah, it's a very visual martial arts. Obviously, all martial arts are very visual martial arts. This does seem a lot more because there's a lot of fast movement going on. So yeah, you're right. You can have little edit points which seem naturally correct.
And pencak silat is so I know a tiny bit about martial arts. In fact, I know quite a lot because I love martial art movies. But pencak silat can also be used. You can replace your hands with either knives, which he does in this movie at points. He uses knives. So you can imagine the moves they're pulling off, but with a knife in each hand. So it's a very brutal martial art that's used by the police and the army. But also you can use a tonfa stick, which is a stick which is like
police baton.
It's like a police baton, yeah. It's got like a handle about a third of the way up it. And again, he uses that in this as well. So really brutal martial arts, and something I'd never seen on, in a film before like this. Yeah, just fantastic stuff. And before we get into it, as an editor and a filmmaker, Mr. Gav, and as you know, I'm a giant Jackie Chan fan. I love my martial art movies, and I know you do as well. Martial art films must be really good fun to edit.
Yeah.
I know that Jackie sees his fight scenes as almost a dance, and he loves to sort of, as someone spins, he'll then go to a different shot, and he makes it feel like a very rhythmic dance. And a lot of martial arts movies do that, particularly lately. You've got your older ones where it's very static, it's particularly like the 70s movies where it's just a field with two guys fighting, and that's fine. But I love the more rhythmic stuff that started coming out in the 80s, particularly with Jackie and that. What are your thoughts on martial arts editing and how they all kind of...
Yeah, actually, no, because you're just conjuring up a world of force there. Yeah, those old school I used to love those old Shaolin films, 36 Chambers, stuff like that. Some real good Invincible Shaolin. There's loads of good shit. And it was very much a big static with a big wide lens, almost like you're watching Mortal Kombat playing that game with two characters there in front of you playing side to side. The camera doesn't move. Because this movie itself is where it's kind of taken it's obviously not a Hollywood action movie, but they've cut it so quickly because you're looking at a certain populace that's going to watch it, which needs to be averaged out between everybody. So younger people whose attention spans can't hold it for long. So you did a quick cutting thing classed as the MTV cutting. And a lot of action films, you're used to that. So you're saying that those old kung fu ones are very much static. You're kind of getting a mixture of that with the MTV cutting style for this movie, The Raid. And I think really with martial arts, if it is myself, I've never cut a martial arts film. If it's myself, what's the fun bit of it's going to be? All the camera angles and what you've got to watch it on, and you line them all up along So they're all playing exactly in sync. The clapperboard is syncing it all up, so it all go along. And then you can just go through them, going, "Oh, that shot looks good. Oh, that shot looks good." So really, like, you could do it. Do you know what I mean? Once you've got that lined up, it's just like that. Then it comes into, like I say, a dance, and it's going to be what naturally goes here, then there. And it's like same as like doing a music video, because you got a rhythm thing going on, and you would definitely with martial arts take that rhythm which is in the fight and adapt it to the camera angles and the cutting. Yeah,
it's funny that you say that rhythm, and this is a little bit of a spoiler for Jackie Chan movies and movies that his stunt team, because they don't just do the Jackie Chan stunt team work on other Hong Kong movies as well. But there is a rhythm, and you hear it because they have a language made up of and and slaps and kicks, and you hear like ba ba bam bam ba ba bam bam do 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 do. And if you listen carefully to Jackie Chan fight scenes, you hear a rhythm made up of their grunts and groans and the punches and kicks, and he's done that deliberately because he was trained in dance as well as martial arts. So it's interesting that you say that. The other thing I think is interesting is martial arts now has come back full circle, movie martial arts, because people now just want to see a very long take. Because we all have these one takers, these one shots, but in a martial arts movie, if you've got this scene that's going on for 5 or 6 minutes,
JCVD, the opening of
exactly,
that opening over that 70s funk track, which I sometimes play out because it's such a good track, and it's like what the fuck? It's just like, I haven't seen that movie since got that. I need to watch it again, but I remember just going, what the shit is this? I expected this to be some really cheap ass movie, and this opening's so good, and it is a martial arts choreographer to this one taker, one shot, and it's really good to see that. So that's quite, but it's rare though. You don't see that much. This movie does a lot more of those long corridors. The camera does stick before it cuts, and it sticks for quite a long time before it does some cutting.
And it makes you really appreciate the choreography, but also the athleticism of the guys that are doing this as well.
Because you got to remember, they're going to it's not going to be one take. Right, that's it, cool. Let's move on. No. You're going to get at least, obviously they're going to rehearse, you're going to get at least 3 or 4 takes if they're being generous.
Yeah, but
like
I don't think, but because they are such perfectionists, you don't get that many takes. You
might not though. They might have this
get it
down
right
so much, but but you got to remember though, it's not just the martial arts. There can also be a problem with the camera. The camera's status and goes the wrong way at the wrong time, and so it's not just that. There's other factors involved. So it's a generally long and tedious, sometimes process like filmmaking. So doing this, I'd love to be a fly on the wall and watch, like, a whole scene be put together. I guess it's storyboarding it, like really advanced storyboarding it, working with the choreographer and getting those fight moves down so much, and like the camera going, the camera needs to work with you guys. So yeah, I bet it's a real fun thing to do, but a shitload of work.
Yeah. But they churn out the movies out quickly, don't they? Particularly in Hong Kong, they churn them out every couple of weeks. Well, they did anyway back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know about this sort of thing. I have no idea. But this is quite a special film. It is essentially Bruce Willis in a block trying to get out.
And Gareth Evans he did a short originally based on this, and then was able to turn it into a feature. He actually wanted it to be set in a prison, but couldn't get the budget. So instead, they set it in a tower block, so an enclosed space.
That's why Part 2's starts in prison. Yeah.
Exactly.
I didn't really like Part 2 so much. I saw it once and don't remember it that well, but I remember not going being a bit. Yeah, it's alright. It's had some cool martial arts, obviously, but
it was a bit too extra for me. Number 2
it was a bit too slick, a bit too more money looking on the screen.
Yeah, and I still enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
This just has a real raw vibe, doesn't it?
It's dirty. It's horrible, isn't it?
It's a dirty erection.
You can smell the. You can smell the horrible corridors.
Yeah, the stank.
Yeah, it's horrible. Well, let's get into this giant erection. So we start off with our man Rama, who is played by Iko Uwais.
I didn't catch any names because it isn't actually it's quite funny names in this, and really the back sort of stories of these people, apart from the hero a little bit, it's not really the movie's just literally like, let's get in there, let's start fighting people. So I've got like hero, brother, henchman, boss,
Because literally, that's like every martial arts movie. No one really cares about the names, do they? It's like, you got your hero. He's usually got a sidekick and a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then the boss has got like one or two henchmen. Sometimes he's got a brother or a father that he's trying to avenge.
That's how I might be classing them as. And the only annoying thing, obviously, being Westerners, is watching martial arts when you have to watch subtitles.
Because you
just really want to watch the fucking fight scenes, and you're like, for this, like, subtitle, make a note. I look up, there's a massive fight sequence. Right, rewind, play that again. What happened? So it's a hard one to review in that sense. I discovered, but it is a fast martial arts, and it's a fast-paced martial arts film.
Well, I've got a lot of the names, hopefully, so we can work with that. But we meet Rama, our hero.
Did you watch the fully uncut version?
Yes.
Good.
Oh, did I?
There's a theatrical and a fully director's fully uncut. It's called.
It was an hour and 48 minutes.
I have no idea how long mine was.
I don't. If there's very much difference, if we did watch different versions.
I think it's just obviously more heightened gore.
Yeah. So we meet Rama Ikeoyos, as I say. He is working out at the beginning. Badass, speedy on the punch bag. Don't want to mess with this guy. And he has a pregnant wife.
And he doesn't really want to leave her, and he's got to go to work. It's very early. Well, he's fine about leaving her, but he is a bit hesitant. The fact that he knows it's not really the safest of jobs out of any job you can be. If I was a postman, I know that I'm coming home tonight.
See you later, love. Get the fish and chips on for when I get in later.
I was a postman just in this building block, just putting letters on the top floor, and all of a sudden I had to fight my way out. It's not going to happen with the postie.
It's not.
But that should be the next movie, which is made, the action movie, The Postman.
Postman in it. Well, that was Kevin Costner.
Right, the postman always knocks twice. The postman knocks 3 times.
Special delivery. That's what it's called.
There you go. In a big erection.
Special delivery. Look at this package. So he's working out. He goes off to work. He kisses his wife and kisses her on the stomach. And because she's pregnant, and then we see him say to his father, "Don't worry, I'll bring him back." Who? What is this? What is it? Well, spoiler alert. We'll jump ahead slightly, just so everyone can stay with the story.
Because we're going to spoil it. Yeah.
His brother happens to be in this tower block.
He's henchman number 2 or number 1. He's kind of shared henchman.
He'd be the one you meet 2 before the final boss in a video game, wouldn't he? Because after him, it would be the Mad Dog.
Fucking the dude's like, I'll take you both on. What are you doing?
He is insane. He trained. His real job, although he's more of an actor and fight choreographer. That guy, whose name is Yayan Ruian, he actually trains the Indonesian army. So that's how badass he is. He fucking trains the army.
Fucking hell.
Imagine that. Mental. Yeah. Because a lot of these guys showed up in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Almost
did a Michael Jackson then.
They showed up in because when Han Solo shows up, hobbles through with his Zimmer frame with Chewie.
That's right.
These guys all show up in that, and I was like, "What? These are the guys from the raid." Why? I
remember seeing that guy because he has the look like the dude that was in Big Trouble in Little China, was in all those and is in Die Hard and all those movies.
He does look a bit like.
He's got that look where you go like, "That's that guy."
But when he showed up in The Force Awakens, I thought, Han Solo's dead then, because if this guy gets anywhere near him, he's going to literally kill him within seconds with his bare hands. But luckily, Han and Chewie unleashed like some giant snake thing on them, so that was fine. But anyway, sorry, bit of a Star Wars tangent there.
On IMDb, most of the photos are mostly of him just in action poses, just knocking people the fuck out.
Yeah, that's what he does. You hire him for
it's
one thing.
Literally every picture's just people go with blood and spit coming from their face, and him going.
He's probably a really lovely man in real life, but in this, he is. Well, his character's called Mad Dog, and I mean. That pretty much sums him up, really, doesn't
Honestly,
it?
You should look at these pictures.
So,
he can spread his legs better than Sharon Stone.
Jesus, with a ham sandwich.
With a ham sandwich.
So we cut to after saying to his dad, "I'll bring him back," meaning his brother. We cut to a van full of SWAT police, and they're describing their plan. They're describing this building. This building
just made me think of another horror movie set in a block. That bloody movie which starts off with which ends up with a load of them in the van going to the block, and the block goes to hell. That bloody Turkish movie.
Oh yes.
Everybody's screaming at the podcast.
I know the one you mean.
But that film, I just thought that, and that's very much like this. It's a bunch of the guys sort of SWAT going towards it, and that is a horror movie. We should have paired that up with this one. That
would have been good. It's called. Why can't I remember it now?
Don't worry, keep talking. Yeah, it'll pop up. Like this erection.
Okay. Well, this van full of. So we got our backstory now in this van, and they're describing this building. They're describing that there is a drug lord whose name is Tama. He is pretty much the final boss in the video game. He's got henchmen, Mad Dog. He's got Andy, who it turns out to be Rama's brother. So there is his henchman. And this
hench dog, Andy.
Mad Dog and Andy. That's the name. And this tower block basically has some people living there, but they live in fear because the whole block is under the thumb of Tama, the main baddie, and they deal drugs. There's guns. There's all sorts of nastiness going on in this building, and he basically rules over this. With the even the police are afraid of him. This is a really dodgy part of Indonesia, I should imagine, and I wouldn't like to go to this building very much.
He's basically there with a bunch of 6 guys on plastic sheeting, knelt down.
Oh yeah, we meet him, don't we? We get to meet him,
and this just describes, just visually shows us the bad guy and what he's capable of.
Well, this is Tarantino all through. It cuts to it looks like a Tarantino movie. It cuts to Tama, the baddie, eating cereal from a bowl, like just normal, and he's just thinking, and then like you say, Gav, you see he's looking at 5 guys kneeling on plastic, all sort of very worried, and he just grabs a gun and he blows all of them away, apart from one of them. Because the gun jams or runs out of bullets. So he balances it on the guy's shoulder and he says, "Just hold this for me a second, would you?" And the guy's thinking, "Oh God, what's happening? Where's he going?" He opens the drawer of his desk and you see some bullets rattling around in there and you think, oh, he's going to reload the gun. No, actually there's a hammer in there. He just grabs the hammer, walks back over, and we actually cut before you see the hammer hit. So they wait for the gore. And it teased me the first time I saw this. I thought, they're not going to show that much gore then. But actually, they wait until the right time when the adrenaline is pumping in a particular fight scene, and they just unleash all the blood. But at this point, we don't really see that. So the police are going to go in. They're going to basically raid this building, hence the title of the movie. They're going to take out all their gang. Their goal is to go apartment to apartment of where these baddies are, tie them up, and move up a floor, and so they've raided and taken out everybody in the building, finishing with the final boss. And it's literally a video game. You couldn't.
Pretty much is. So they turn up at the building. There's basically two teams of about 6 or 7 guys each, and they meet up with their contact there, which is an older chap, and he sticks out because he's like more civilian clothing with a stab vest sort of thing, or bulletproof vest, but the others are all like SWAT, full on black combats, helmets, fucking tactical stuff.
Yeah, he's not got a helmet on at all, has he?
No. He's there, and he's like, oh, so. Spoiling it again, they are though essentially thinking that this is all legit. We do find out later on that this guy who they've met up with is just got a vendetta against this, and got some other stuff going on with this drug dealer, this big boss. So he's just called this in on his own head, just go and do this because he wants them and he can't think how to do it himself. And they don't know this, and they think it's all legit. So once they get stuck in there, they get proper fucking stuck in there, don't they?
Yeah, because once they get stuck in there later on, and again, jumping ahead, but that's fine. It doesn't matter because it's hard to, like you said, Gav, the storyline is tricky with particularly martial arts films. But yeah, when they get stuck in there, they sort of say to the lieutenant, he's the lieutenant, they say, well, don't worry, people know we're here, right?
Yeah, just call back up to say, get us out of here when they get stuck. It's like, no, you're by yourself.
No one knows we're here, I'm afraid. I didn't tell anybody we were doing this raid.
But they don't know this of yet, so they are full of spunk, shall we say?
Yeah, and there's quite a lot of trainees amongst them as well.
Yes, and they're saying keep the trainees to the back because I don't want them messing things up. So okay, yeah. So it's just like it's like the Chernobyl incident all over again, really, isn't it? You know,
it is, yeah. It's just like that.
So they go up to the bottom of the building, and there's just a really shit security guard on the bottom of the building, just sitting there with his outside TV.
He's just
He's
skinny
so
little
rubbish.
lad sat there.
Why is he doing this?
Well, they take him out instantly.
If you had good security there, you wouldn't need anything else. Brilliant, done. You know.
And they bump into some geeky-looking motherfucker. Who they say, who the fuck are you? And he's like, I'm just trying to take this medicine to my wife. He lives in the building.
It's good though, because he's nice. So like he's been sort of thrown around a little bit by one of the more higher superiors of the SWAT team, and they're not treating him very nicely. He's saying, look, I need to get the medicine to my wife, and this other guy's like, I don't give a fuck, you're gonna stay here till we've done this. And he goes, how long's that gonna take? I can't do this. But we do get our hero. He comes into it and he's like, look, it's fine. I'll sort this out. And he actually comes on board. How much superiority does he have?
I'm not sure, but he says.
I found that surprising that the other guy was all right. You sort it out. He must have some respect, some credit.
Well, he says to him, look, it's your fucking problem then. He literally says, it's your fucking problem. If anything happens to him, that's on you. Keep him behind you. Keep him out of my way. And he says,
because he said to the guy, I can take you up, but we'll get you there, but you got to stay behind us, which is a fair thing to say.
He wants to get him to his wife.
But I understand.
But it's great because later on the apartment of this guy will come back into the story. So it's lovely, little bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And it's quite a nice little story considering it's a load of guys raiding a block. It's quite some good little plot points in it as well.
They start raiding the first floor. They raid the first floor pretty easy, and they start going up quite. You watch this movie going, well, we know that this is not going to keep going this well because otherwise the movie would be finished soon. Everyone would be happy, and then that'd be the end of it. It's like, but they're getting through like first, second, third floors.
Yeah, they burst in a room. They grab two guys. They zip tie them. Yeah, boom, 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 done. Next, and this is where the score comes in. And I messaged you and said, this score is insane. It's very, for me anyway, very synthy John Carpenter-y at times. It felt like, I don't know, like, it's hard to describe really, just very synthy John Carpenter-y, I don't know. Yeah. But it's a good score, very sort of...
There's a couple of good tracks. I much prefer Dredd score. I think that's a brilliant score.
Dredd score's great, yeah, definitely. But they work their way through some rooms, and they're doing really well, like you said, Gav. We're doing all right on this.
But we all know, watching this movie, guys, we all know that this isn't going to stay like this. It's going to go. They're going to be in Schitt's Creek without a paddle.
So in the video game world, they would have completed the first 3 levels quite nicely, and then we get to like a mid-boss because they come onto this corridor and they see a kid at the end of the room,
and they try to give the kid the benefit of a doubt.
Don't go anywhere, kid. Just stay where you are.
They sort of raise the guns. It's all right. We won't shoot you. Stay. Don't move. What does the kid do?
He turns and he runs into the stairwell.
Yeah, the old fella shoots his gun, but he gets out and he manages to stay in the stairwell. Police.
And he's what they call a spotter. So there are spotters all throughout this building.
And then that's it.
And they are absolutely fucked now.
But really, it wouldn't have taken that long until the CCTV team would have seen them anyway. The boss. He's got the cameras. This building is rigged up with cameras.
We should say that, actually, yeah. Just like Dredd.
Same with Dredd. They're both, as soon as when we get on to talking about Dredd, you guys are going to know this territory because we've already been there. But yeah, there's cameras everywhere. So eventually they're going to be spotted anyway and just followed.
And we get another Dredd similarity now because once they are made aware of the boss, Tama, he grabs the intercom and he says to the entire building, we've got some visitors and I want you to take them out.
Have some fun.
Yeah, and then he says, that's the last bit, he says, take them out, kill them, do what you need to do.
And you can stay for free. Stay for free forever.
Well.
Yeah, have some fun.
So everybody in there who's got a knife or a gun.
So brilliant.
Like, yeah, boy!
Stay for life, though, for free as a rent. No rent forever.
Not bad, is it? Just kill a couple of cops.
I don't know, though. I don't know if I'd really want to live there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I probably would. But this is where we find out the caliber of baddies that we're dealing with. These aren't just your average, everyday martial arts baddies. They've got machetes, sniper rifles.
Machete gang, yeah. It's kind of like with Dredd. It's kind of like the Warriors. you've got these different kind of gangs almost.
Yeah. Well, there's snipers in the opposite building that start sniping at the police.
Take out the cops who are outside.
So they're doomed. They're done.
And one of them doesn't shoot enough, and he says, "No, don't put another bullet in. Don't waste bullet. Just let him scream."
I know.
Whoa, easy guys.
So they all hear him. These other cops hear him, and they want to go and rescue him, but they know that they've done it to lure them out there.
These baddies did not get fatherly attention.
They didn't. So the entire building is now on lockdown, been locked up. And one of the guys who's tied up at his kitchen table with the police in his room, he has got a little machete attached to the underneath of his table that he slowly reaches under and grabs.
That's it. As soon as one thing happens, it's like in a martial arts movie or any sort of movie, or when James Bond's tied up and the boss is there, some distraction, a miss over here. Look over here. And this is it. These guys have been shot outside. The player cop looks out, and as you say, yeah, this guy slips out from underneath him, pops out through his bottom under his arms, and manages to get his cable-tied hands to the front of him. Pulls out the machete.
He's a bendy motherfucker, but he does it.
Have you ever tried doing it? Like, hands on your back and
probably when I was younger.
I used to be able to. I'm still quite flexible. I might be able to.
Oh, well.
I don't know. It's not the Valentine's episode. Come on.
So this is where it's revealed because this machete guy, he takes out a couple of cops, and they say to the lieutenant, the police say to the lieutenant, "My God, we're getting slaughtered here. Call it in. I mean, well, they'll be here in a minute." And he says, no one knows we're here. I'm really sorry about this.
We're fucked. Where's the term "up shit's creek without a paddle" come from? So obviously someone's thought, like, if you haven't got your paddle and you're in the boat, you have to then use your hands if you're in a big river of shit.
I think it just means that it's one of the worst positions to be in, because you're in a river of shit. Yeah. Imagine if Ghostbusters 2 had ended with a river of shit instead of a river of slime. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Instead of Slimer, you had shitter. Just this turd floating around in the air.
He's an ugly little spud. But then when he slimes Peter,
he should be.
He shitted on me.
He shitted on me, Ray. Great, anyway. Keep some. Okay.
You're going to call Turd Busters. That's just about 4 plumbers in New York in the 80s going around unblocking toilets. That's a different film. Very different film. Didn't you know someone who unblocked KRS-One's toilet once?
Yeah. My friend in LA, he's a plumber, and he's just going on a job, and they called him to go on a job, so he went on it, and because he's from around here, and he moved out there because he married an American lady, and he went out there and just opened the door, and it's KRS-One, and it's basically unblocked KRS-One's toilet. It's KRS-One shit. That? There's KRS-One shit.
Because you don't really think of KRS-One as doing his shit, because he's like a god of rap, but he must do a shit. And he's blocked his toilet, and he must have thought, I'm going to have to call
you're KRS-One, because he used to go to all our hip-hop night. He's mad for his hip-hop. So.
And he's like, look, don't you not address me by my rap name. Just get my shit out
Chris,
of my...
I've come to sort your shit out.
Fresh. That was his catchphrase. Anyway, enough of KRS-One. Back to the raid. I don't know how we went on that tangent then, through Ghostbusters. Plumbers and all that business. So, Tama wants them all dead, as we've said, and Rama is recognised on CCTV by one of the henchmen, Andy, his brother. So there's a bit of a look on his face, and he thinks, oh shit, my brother's in here. This isn't good. And we think, oh, maybe Andy's undercover. That's okay, maybe he's just doing this as an undercover thing, and he's actually not, is he? It turns out later on we find out he's genuinely just a baddie.
He prefers criminal. He's a criminal individual.
Now we get one of my favourite moments in this film. It's not a martial arts moment, it's just out of the blue. They're trapped in this apartment, and they pull a sofa in front of the door, and you've got all these thugs trying to smash in. One of the guys says, "Throw me the axe." So Buddy throws him his axe, and he starts banging on the floor with his feet.
They're quite quick thinkers in this, aren't they, most of them?
Amazing. He finds a hollow point in the floor and just starts doing a Jack Torrance on the floor. Boom, boom, boom. And they all instantly think, oh, got it, he's going down. Again, video game. If you can't go out of the apartment, we're going down into the one below. So he starts chopping down. and the guy jumps down, and the camera follows the guy down, doesn't it? It's so well done. As he jumps down, the camera follows the guy down as well. Unfortunately, there are some more men in the apartment below.
Yeah.
So they have to fight them. So we just start getting these. This is where your adrenaline starts amping up, because you get these fight scenes now, which I can't even do justice to by describing them.
Well, you didn't even mention the old the canister put in the fridge.
That's not now, though, is it? That's in just a moment.
Oh, okay. Is that from just after this fight? After they got through?
Yeah, because they go down a couple of floors, and then realise that they're fucked. And then they have to climb back up through the hole because they get taken out.
Yeah.
So they climb back up, and yeah, you're right. Rama, quick thinking. He thinks, "What the fuck are we going to do? I know what to do." All of these apartments have got gas canister to supply their cooker.
And at this point, we've got like 5 or 6 of them. Really, we don't know what's happened to. We do find later on there's a couple others like hiding away in other rooms throughout the building, but so a lot of them have been killed already of the SWAT team. So yeah, don't know what to do. So all of a sudden it's just like boom, opens up underneath the sink, and there's a gas. I guess they keep gas canisters under sinks.
Well, that's the part. That's how they cook. So these apartments are quite run down. So they just.
I know that, but I didn't know. I don't know if we keep it under the sink or you keep it more somewhere else. It seems a strange place under the sink, but I suppose it actually probably doesn't actually. Anyway, regardless of that, it's not even interesting.
You Indonesians, why do you keep your gas canisters under the bloody sink?
It actually does make sense to probably be though. Puts it in the fridge. Help me, everybody, help me. Turn the fridge around and push it towards the door. Then throw in a little grenade.
Fucking hell, this thing goes off, doesn't it?
It goes off in seconds and pushes the fridge right back. It knocks the SWAT team back. It fucks up the others. The boss hears it. What the fuck's that? It's like John McClane with his little computer chair with monitor and the Semtex or whatever it is.
Well, it's quite the explosion. We get the ringing sound because everyone's been kind of deafened by it. Most of the thugs who were right behind that door are probably dead.
Yeah. But
they're all lying on the ground.
You do get that Machete gang start to come down though through the aftermath of the smoke.
You do. Yeah, and they look great. In fact, there's quite a few shots in this where some of the Indonesian baddies look really frightening, almost like zombies, the way they're shot, with their long, greasy hair covering up some of their faces and holding machetes. There's definitely horror elements here.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be near them, would you? Do you know what I mean?
They're not very nice guys, to be honest with you. But yeah, so we've had this incredible fight scene all the way through, up and down and through floors, and it's not just a straightforward, we can go apartment to apartment. We've now discovered that these guys can go through the floor, back up through the ceiling, there's balconies. So this is like a real, like, 5-dimensional battleground almost, if that is even a thing. I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's not dimensions, is it?
3 dimensions.
You can go any which way in the yeah.
Well, basically, it's not a straightforward left to right beat 'em up like a video game. You can go up, down, left, right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Multiple options.
Multiple options. So they wake up. Half the team are dead, like I said. They use the table to climb back up through the hole again. And we get the guy with the machete. And he just starts running at the cop. There's tension here now. There's some good build-up of tension all the way through this, actually. And we get this corridor fight.
Is this this fight? I remember watching this in the cinema and just been like, wow. This is when like the Machete gang kind of there, and we've just basically got the one sort of our hero cop just sort of sees them, and goes,
here we go.
And yeah, the music kicks in, and off we go to the races.
And it is and this is where we really get, because we've had quite a lot of explosions and stuff, but we still haven't seen a lot of bloodshed. This
is full on.
Yeah, there's like
fast
heads being smashed. There's like one bit where he smashes a guy's head all the way down about 5 times, bang, 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 all the way down the wall.
Yeah. That's the end of the fight sequence. Yeah.
The bit that the way this fight sequence ends, which everybody's sort of a bit shocked about, is when
neck one.
Yeah, so there's like a bit of wood on the bottom of a broken door from where they blew the fridge out, and he jumps back holding the baddie's hair, pulls him down.
Perfect timing.
And this wood just stabs right into his throat.
Or perfect placement, yeah.
It's just.
But this fight, it's kind of remind me of Old Boy with that the hammer scene in the corridor.
Yeah.
But this is just so full on, and he's doing his arms are swinging fucking every which way, and it's just amazing martial arts. He's taking on everybody at once. They've got machetes though, and he's just taking them on and winning.
He manages to grab a machete. He manages to grab a knife. He manages to grab a tonfa stick. He uses everything he can, even the wall around him. He's obviously a very well-trained cop, but this is like the element of fantasy in any martial arts movie, is that the hero can take on 30 guys and pretty much, be unhurt. But he manages to do it, and it's a rewind. It's a rewind. This scene every time for me. Yeah. I have to rewind it every single time. He manages to get his buddy Bowo out of the corridor, who's really badly injured actually. And this is where they get to the door. He realizes they're right at the door of the guy with the sick wife that they met earlier, that they helped. So he bangs on the door, and the guy's like, "Go away, fuck off! I'm not letting you in." And he's like, "Please, you've got to help me. We're dead otherwise. We're dead. They're going to be here any minute." So he reluctantly lets them into his apartment.
Yeah, his wife's obviously protesting, saying don't let them in, which she's been sensible. She's known, we could be fucking killed. Like, these guys are crazy. I know these are morally, yeah, but that means that we're going to be killed. So, but he's nice, though, and he's the one that he realises it's the guy who helped him earlier. It's quite a coincidence. It happens to be that room.
But even if they get caught in this guy's apartment, they'll probably get killed, him and his wife, just for having them in there.
And it's good later on when he plays up and gets really angry of them and puts his foot down, then they realise, they couldn't be here because he'd be scared, which is very, very good of that guy.
Yeah, he does a good job. So they get inside his hollow sort of wall, like a chimney breast, really, isn't it? That they get Yeah, so they're hiding in this wall, and the bad guys come in.
It's closer, isn't it?
Yeah, he puts the machete through the wall, and it's right underneath his eyes.
Machetes are just such a barbaric, violent, really full-on and personal and destructive weapon.
Yeah, because they're not like a sword.
It's a chopping thing, and you're literally chopping where you could chop limbs, and that's quite a disturbing thing as well.
Yeah, and it's more disturbing than an axe because it's a bigger blade as well.
But that's why the Shadow of Death character, so I've got the fake machete. Because watching it, it's funny, I went to the kitchen, I was like, there's my fake machete up there. Because it's just quite a horrible weapon.
We see... he has the machetes slicing up against his face. They pull it out, and you're worried that they're going to see the blood on the machete.
But he stops it, doesn't he? He stops it with his hand, stops the blood coming out.
Good lad. And this is where now they cut the bullet out of Bo. He says, "Just cut it out of me, just cut it out of me." So they have to cut this bullet out of him with just a knife in this guy's apartment. It's fucking absolutely brutal. But at least they got the bullet out, and we're in the lift now
with the other henchman. The not so gnarly looking henchman.
Andy, the brother.
He looks all like, you look at him like, you don't look like a henchman. You look all right. Or you're an intelligent henchman that would kill, but you think first.
I think he's the guy they hired to help with all the CCTV and the tech stuff. He looks
more clued on. The other guy's a fucking barbarian.
He went for the job interview, and they said, right, so what can you bring to the Machete gang here in this building? And he said, well, I've got years of experience with security and CCTV. And they said, well, do you know any martial arts? He was, oh yeah, I can kill people with my bare hands. Oh, brilliant, you've got the job then. Absolutely, you've got the job. But you're not Mad Dog, okay? Mad Dog is our top killer. But you're, as long as the computers are around, if they ever go down.
Mold Pussycat, Mad Dog.
Mad Dog, Pussycat.
Mold Pussycat.
Shitter.
Shitter.
Not Slimer, Shitter. His cousin. Because you had
the wackest Ghostbusters.
You had Muncher in Ghostbusters Afterlife, so
yeah, Shitter.
Maybe they could have Shitter in the next one. What was that? What film were we thinking of when there was a shit monster? Dogma.
Can you smell something? So he's in the lift with these two guys. Obviously, they because like both henchmen are going with their couple of people, and they're going to go start searching. The boss has said, "Look, you guys are my top dogs. Top dog. Go out there and find these dudes and take them out." So we're in there, and he's looking around at himself, and he's in the middle. This guy, this henchman number 2, and all of a sudden, does a bit of killing.
He kills both the other guys because he doesn't really want to take his brother. He wants to basically warn his brother to get the fuck out of there.
So he's doing that knowing not, luckily he didn't have cameras in the lift. So.
Now we cut to an absolutely brutal scene here, which reminded me of the scene in Die Hard 2, which we covered for our Christmas episode, where we got 2 cops in the car outside, and these guys just turn up, and a bit like the scene in Die Hard 2 where he's in the plane, John McClane's in the plane, and they just empty the bullets into that plane cockpit.
Same thing.
These guys just Swiss cheese this police van with these 2 guys in it, and they just don't stop shooting until they run out of bullets, completely killing the guys that were waiting outside in the van.
Yeah.
Boom, they're gone.
The good neighbour, that's what I've given his name. The good neighbour gives him basically like a little info dump to our hero, basically just sort of saying like, there's cameras everywhere, you're stuck. The only way you're getting out of here is if you break out like you broke in. That's the only way you're doing it. And what's that mean? Is that, okay, so what do I do? So, yeah.
Yep. This is actually where the corridor fight takes place. We forgot. We jumped ahead because there's another fight scene earlier, but this is the proper corridor machete fight that we talked about. Oh. That's where this takes place.
There is a lot of fighting in this, listeners. There is a lot of fighting.
There is a lot of fighting. But yeah, it is an incredible fight scene. When it's over, you're kind of like... But there's a bit where he fights a guy towards the end of it where he runs at him.
He uses this as a human crash mat, doesn't he?
He smashes him out the window, and they fight all the way down. They're fighting as they fall down, and then they land on a bloody balcony.
A metal balcony outside, a very small one, luckily, and they use it basically as a crash mat, and the guy's like, and he's fucked. He goes back in. He thinks of he's like going out of consciousness. He thinks of his wife, and obviously that gives him more courage to battle on.
My wife's pregnant at home. Bloody hell, I better get up.
But the old fella cop, the one who's the fucking dickhead of all this, basically, they've been hiding out in one of the rooms. They like find, we cut to them, don't we?
Yeah, well, they're in there going, what are we going to do? We're stuck in this apartment. Oh, I don't really know what we're going to do. And this is where Mad Dog enters the room. And attacks them.
You don't. If anyone's going to come in, you don't want Mad Dog coming in. Get mold pussy in here. I don't want Mad Dog.
Mad Dog walks in, and Lieutenant and him fight, and he just destroys everyone in that room. He's beaten to absolute shit, and then he goes up to him, and he just grabs the back of his head. And he sort of strokes his head a little bit, Mad Dog, doesn't he, before he does it? He sort of breathes in like... and then he just snaps his neck.
Was this the dude that the cop he pulls into the room and wants to have a fist fight with him? Puts his gun down and stuff. He does in a minute. He does that. He's like, he wants to have Riggs basically a fight with... I was about to say Nick Nolte, not fucking Nick Nolte. At the end of Lethal Weapon. Boosie. Yeah. It's like, come on, let's just do this like hand to hand. Because what we find out with Mad Dog, he likes to use his hands. He doesn't like using weapons. He likes a real touch of like killing someone.
Yeah. Because he puts the gun down. He says, why would you do this with a gun? There's no fun with a gun.
Yeah.
That's the name of his rap album. No fun with a gun.
Yeah.
Diarrhea of a madman. Diarrhea of a Mad Dog. There we go.
I wonder if Shark Killer listens to us.
So Rama and Andy grabs Rama and drags him off and says, look, I like my job as an IT gangster machete boy. Why are you here fucking it up? And he's like, I'm a cop. You know what? I promised Dad I'd get you out and make you see the light. And he's like, well, I like it. I like this job. I like killing people and selling drugs and doing all the CCTV computer stuff.
He likes being a crim.
I like it.
He's a gangster.
All right. You like being a cop. I like being a robber.
See,
cops and robbers.
The difference between brothers, eh?
And he says to him, actually, he says, the reason you wear that cop uniform is because it just fits you. You know, you like the way it fits and it suits you. And I wear this uniform, like, he's not wearing a uniform, but he said, I do this job because it suits me and it fits me. So they kind of got this, like, they're like yin and yang, aren't they? They're kind of like the light side and the dark side of the Machete gangs, as it were. But yeah, there's no, you know, changing his mind.
He does tell him, though, you're going to be an uncle. Yeah.
And he says, you're just saying that?
No, it's true.
You're going to be an uncle. Come on. And he's like, oh, that's really cool. So yeah, it's a good little... And again, they didn't need to have a pregnant wife, but actually that does make sense now that she's pregnant, because he could use that as a bit of leverage.
Slight of a bargaining chip, slightly. But it is legit, and it gives also the hero a reason to carry on and a reason to get through this and come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. More stakes.
Rama finds the lieutenant and the remaining survivors, and he says, look, we're outnumbered here. Oh, no shit, Sherlock. There's fucking hundreds of these guys, and there's about 4 of you left. And he says to the lieutenant, this is your fault, and you've got to keep us alive. You've got to help us stay alive. It's the least you can do, you piece of shit, because you're going to be going to jail for a very long time.
Yeah.
You got us into this mess, you asshole. So Andy is caught out and gets stabbed in the hand because he goes back to see the big boss, and they're onto him because they saw him on CCTV.
You watch him on cameras, and he should have known this.
He's chatting to his bro in the apartment, and they stab him in the hand. And that was his IT hand as well, you know. That was the hand he uses his mouse with. So he's not going to be any good to them now. I don't know why they've done that. But they stab him in the hand, and we don't know what happens to him next, but we know if we find out later on, he's taken off and tied up in a room on a chain as bait to bring his brother in.
Yeah.
So there we go. And who is he? You know, they want to know who he is, and they find out it's your brother. Okay, right. Interesting. Now we get the drug factory fight, Gav, don't we? So it's a bit, imagine the scene in RoboCop where he walks into the cocaine factory.
Yeah, exactly, RoboCop.
But instead of RoboCop, you've got 4 cops with machetes just chopping and kicking and flipping on tables full of cocaine and whatever other drugs they're manufacturing. And this is a great fight scene as well. We got tables, people running across tables, sliding under tables, over tables, just non-stop martial art. And they're really ganging up. Someone will look around and see his buddy getting beaten up, so he'll run over and then they'll take out that guy, but then they'll see somebody else, and it's like a proper, almost like a barroom brawl, isn't it? It just feels so real. I don't know, it's hard to explain.
Yeah,
it's like a real sense of...
Yeah, even the old cop, he still seems to be like doing the odd slow punch.
Yeah, he's a bit of a big guy though, so he picks a few guys up and sort of slams them around, doesn't he? If he was going to be a Street Fighter character, he'd be Zangief, the Russian guy.
This is very much an arcade game bit here, isn't it? Going in just like fighting.
Who do you select?
It's like Streets of Rage or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no one would select the lieutenant.
Did they make a Streets of Rage film?
They really should.
I'd fucking love to watch a Streets of Rage film. Should we make it? Me and you.
Can we be the characters?
Yeah. In little vests. We're stilted when we walk. And
then, like, when I'm feeling low on energy, I pick up a piece of chicken, and then I'm like, my full health bar comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. We just need to find a hot woman in a red miniskirt to help us fight crime. I think she had a whip.
Yeah, it's weird.
And sometimes you threw pepper at some of the baddies, and it made them pause for a second because they were having a sneezing fit, and then you'd run up to them quickly, do a couple of moves, and drop them down on the ground, and then move on.
Let's take exactly that game and take it into real life and make
Imagine
it.
that. Stop! I'm going to throw this pepper at you. Oh no! Streets of Rage, what a game. The second one was great. It had that guy on rollerblades as well. On the second one, and he breakdanced on rollerblades. He was like my favourite character because he was a rollerblading.
Was that on the bridge?
I think there was a pier.
Yeah,
that's the pier. That's right. Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, reminiscing.
Yeah, there we go. I know RJ will love that little bit of conversation because he loves old 8-bit and 16-bit video games. There we go. So yes, where were we? 3 cops 3 cops versus everyone is what my notes say. And the score kicks in again. Rama gets some knives. Our hero gets knives. So he starts taking people out. So the fight stepped up again now because we're getting stabbing going on here. And it just gets pretty insane, really. But they all seem to make it out. All 3 of them make it out. And as they're about to leave, Rama, our hero, hears boosh, boof, boff going on in the other room. And he thinks someone's having a wank.
He thinks either Jimmy Savile's having a good time.
Oh, God. Jesus.
Or his brother's getting beaten up. So he goes in. Oh, imagine if it was Jimmy's. God, I'd love him to beat up Jimmy Savile. Jimmy Savile's corpse.
He wouldn't even have a chance. Jimmy Savile was a decrepit old fool.
Oh.
Now then. You're right. He walks into this room and he sees Mad Dog.
He's again a kind of lethal weapon. He's got his brother chained up. He's just taken out on him like a punch bag.
Yeah.
But he sees him and drops him down again. Let him go.
He slowly walks over it.
Puts the chains up. Yeah, real nice, calm, and just basically saying, "Right, I'm going to fight both of you."
He walks in between them and he sort of points you over there and you over there to like spread them out a bit. And then he sort of flicks his hair back a bit. He's a real like suave.
It's just the fact that he's like, right, not only am I going to take the hero on, this guy who's been tearing up this whole fucking building, as the boss says.
He's taken out about 40 guys single-handedly.
Obviously his brother's I've been punching his brother lots, but fuck it, I'll take you both on. Let's go for it. All 3 of them must be so exhausted. I'd be useless. I'd be like, I've not eaten for a while. I've not had a poo for ages. I'm just so unhappy right now. I can't fight.
I'd be back at home in bed with his wife.
I want to go and have a sleep.
I wouldn't have left. I'd have called in sick.
Yeah, press snooze.
Imagine that. Oh, sorry, I didn't come in today. I was late. Oh, you missed a fucking hell of a day. Jesus Christ.
You're lucky. You missed yesterday.
The
Frank,
whole squad got
blimey.
wiped out. It was your brother that did it. What? No way.
Yeah.
So this fight scene just kicks off now. And I've read a lot of reviews that say this final fight scene perhaps does go on a bit too long. And I guess I would agree with that. But also, you know the journey you're on with this film. And you know that this has got to be a long, epic fight scene, which it really is. We get the 2 brothers teaming up against Mad Dog, and they don't seem to be able to take him out because no matter what they do, he gets up again and again and again.
I actually am almost a bit gutted when he eventually is killed by them both because he is so powerful. Let him live because he's so powerful.
Let him live.
He's so powerful.
You're really strong. We're going to let you live. Off you go.
What would he go on to do? Like, just say to him, like, let's get you in a ring and we'll bet on you. Like, we could make so much money.
So Rama's like, whoa, Mad Dog, look, Andy, my brother and I have been talking. We'd really like you to become a professional wrestler. We'd like to manage you. We're going to manage you as Mad Dog.
Or mixed martial arts, manage you. Reckon you could take on Connor.
Do you want to do that? He'd be like, yeah, that sounds all right, actually. Yeah, probably do that.
He'd whoop so many people's asses.
He would. But
they don't have this discussion.
They spend 7 or 8 minutes kicking the shit out of each other in some incredible moves, some that are very painful, and it culminates with Andy getting a fluorescent light tube, smashing it and stabbing it into Mad Dog's throat, which is gross to start with because blood is obviously pouring out of this tube. He continues to fight though.
He keeps going.
Doesn't matter. Don't stop him. I think he's a Highlander.
I think he's fucking mental.
But just when you think that was gross enough,
it's all so much effort, though, isn't it?
Rama lies on top of him, and he grabs the tube, and he basically just opens up his throat by pulling it from one side to the other.
It wouldn't have worked though, because they break so easily. It wouldn't be strong enough. It wouldn't do. But still, for effect,
it makes you wince when he does that.
But like, while this is going on, though, we have had the old guy,
Lieutenant,
has got to the big boss. Basically,
he's made it to the final level.
What he wanted to do the whole time. And he's got one guy with him. He's got a cop with him. They both go in there, and they go, "I said, put your guns up, put his hands in locks. cable tie, and then he shoots the cop.
Yep.
And I was like, what? Later on, you're still thinking, well, that was a waste. Why did you shoot that cop? I still don't know why he shoots him, because I know he needs to use the boss to get out and as leverage, but he can still use the cop to help him go down and go ahead and shoot people.
It's because they all knew that he'd orchestrated it, for his own private.
Yeah, but you can shoot him at the bottom. Use him,
Yeah, you can't trust it that that's going to happen, though.
I guess.
And this is where the big boss, Tama, reveals that he actually was been sent there to be killed. The lieutenant was actually sent there to be killed. So as much as he thought he was going there for vengeance, he was actually sent there by his boss because they were sick of his shit, and they knew that he'd end up getting killed in this raid. So basically, Gav, everyone's expendable in this film. Without a single Sylvester Stallone, everyone's expendable in this film. And this is obviously annoying for our hero, Rama. He is pissed off, very pissed off. But Lieutenant Old Guy blows out the big boss's brains, kills him. He's achieved his goal.
Yep.
Completed the game. Then tries to kill himself.
Out of bullets, sucker.
Yeah, man. You're going to have to do time, just like you should do. And all that's left at the end is Bowo, who had the bullet cut out of him, Andy and Rama, and they're heading towards the gate. And they're sort of, walking out. And then at the last minute, Andy says, do you know what? I think I'm just going to stay here, be a criminal for a bit longer. So don't worry about me, bro. You go on. You'll be a great dad. Take your mate out of here. So literally 2 cops, out of about 15 cops, 2 cops survived this entire ordeal.
Yeah.
And his brother stays in there to be a criminal for it to be another day.
Yeah. And that is the movie.
And my last word is the end. Whoa.
Mine just said the end. It's a good film. It's what we said. Whoa, indeed. It is an in and out film.
It's hard to, as we've discussed with some films that move very, very rapidly, we don't feel like we could do them justice sometimes.
We can't audibly give this movie the love that visually you can have and fun.
Just, if you've seen The Raid, which I'm sure a lot of you guys will have, you understand, and hopefully this will make you want to go back and watch it. It is on Shudder for free. If you've got Shudder subscription, if you just own it, like Gav's got it on Blu-ray, it is a decent film. Go back and just really crack open a beer or whatever it is you do to unwind. Watch this with your feet up and just let yourself sink into this crazy adrenaline-fueled, testosterone-driven bloodbath of martial arts mayhem. That should have been on the back of the DVD. Everything I just said should have been on the back of the DVD. Dan Bone, the podcast on Haunted Hill.
I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I'd give it a thumbs up. I'd give it a thumbs up with a machete in the hand.
Oh. Well.
The Raid Redemption. The sequel, we touched on briefly earlier, but it's bigger. It's got a bigger budget. It's slicker looking. There's a car scene, chase scenes in it. Starts off in a prison. It just feels a little bit stretched for me. I'd like it to have just perhaps stayed in the prison. Maybe they could have done each Raid movie is in a single location each time. Because I know they're talking about making a third one, and they're talking about making a remake, a Western remake as well. Who's going to be in that? Nicolas Cage? Fighting his way out of a building? Oh, my brother's in here somewhere. Oh.
But that was The Raid. It's a good film.
That was The Raid.
Yeah.
Well, that's Raid 2019. Are you ready to jump in the old time machine?
Let's do it. Let's jump in.
It's not far away now.
Whoa! What's this machine?
This is my time machine.
Your time machine?
Yeah. For the next 5 minutes, we are going to be the Time Team.
The Time Team! Whoa!
What's this? Look at that!
Look at that!
Oh, he's been dead 100 years. Look at that!
Look at that, it's the Statue of Liberty coming out of the sand.
Oh, there's a dinosaur!
Oh my god, look at that! It's something else.
2019.
It's a special song you sang to me.
We're here.
Here we are.
3 years ago. That's all.
Yeah.
Do you remember much about 2019? 2019. That's in the future.
2019. Well,
you and I.
It was.
You and I had
it was the
holiday.
It was the last time we. Yeah. Oh, your stag do. It was the last time we had just sort of a bit of normality that year.
It was, and also
Didn't it all went a bit weird, didn't it?
It was the year I got married as well.
Oh right, okay, yeah, I would forget these things. That's cool.
Stag do. Also, sadly, the year that I lost my mum, so a bit of a up and down year.
Mm-hmm.
But it was 2019 all the same. I got a lot of drinks put in me that year, especially on my stag do. So and a lot of that was thanks to you.
Yeah. That stag do was great. What was I was listening to something, or I think I was listening to a podcast. I was talking about someone, and they ended up taking a load of mushrooms or something. They just didn't talk for ages, and it reminded me of getting in the car for the way down to Devon, and and just eating a load of. I'd made a load of hash cakes, and I ate a big load, and then didn't realise. Just I was the only one that took it at first of all. Realised how fucked I got, and then I couldn't talk to anybody. I didn't even know some of the people, and I couldn't talk. Do you
remember Anthony though? Anthony had one.
Yeah, he had halfway through. I was like, someone joined me. I was like, thank fuck for that. Someone else.
That was funny, man.
I don't know how.
But I got in the back of the car, and we had this big van. There's like 8 of us in the back of the, or 6 of us in the back of the van.
There is pictures of us.
Yeah. And as soon as I got in, it was like, here's your bottle of rum. You've got to drink this, and you've got to drink all these beers. And it was like a 4-hour drive.
I couldn't drink. I couldn't do anything. I just sat looking out the window. Then I was worried everybody's thinking that I wasn't talking.
That was a good little holiday.
And then I gave you some, and then we went to the beer thing, and you just look really fucked because you ate some as well. It was amazing. It was good fun. That was really good fun. Then I remember feeling really old going to the nightclub.
Yeah, because everyone was really young.
And it's a bit like those young girls, like in really like young girl clothing.
Apart from that one weird guy who was like 50, and he came up to us.
There's always one in those clubs.
And he was rapping Salt and Pepper because it was playing, and he started doing it really aggressively. He was going, I can't remember which song it was now, but he was really saying it through his teeth, and we were all a bit like, is he all right? Should we probably go?
It was a weird club.
It was a weird club.
Really weird. Ugh.
Fun times though. So that's some personal things that happened in 2019. Like you say, Gab, it was, little did we know, it was going to be the last year that, things were relatively normal. There was no such thing as isolation and mask wearing. And
that was the last time I was in a big club, actually, I think, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Sorry about that. What else happened in 2019? Well, let's look at what was going on in pop culture and the news. So there was that famous interview, Gayle King. She interviewed R. Kelly, and he got up and started screaming,
I want to piss on you, drip, drip, drip.
Do you remember that interview where he just stood up and started screaming and raising his hand, and everyone thought, is he going to... Yeah, she just sat there like, she didn't really...
Is it because at this point he was still... Well, people kind of apparently knew about him, but not obviously so much in the public eye. Was it at this point he was just realising, like... What was she saying to get him
She was really asking some really provocative questions.
And he's always like been in control with women. That was one of his things, wasn't he, as an abuser?
Yeah.
So
he thought he
probably
could
did like at that point
her.
then he probably wasn't in control of that situation.
Exactly.
And it was a woman. So he probably felt...
the angrier he got, the more calm she stayed, which wound him up even more. It's very interesting if you want to watch that. It's Gayle King.
And when I say a woman, I mean from his perspective, not not mine.
Gav loves women.
Everybody is equal.
We also learned the name of a young lady this year, Greta Thunberg.
Oh yeah, oh little Greta.
She became a hero, a climate change hero.
She was just this little girl with pigtails that pulled really angry faces when she said stuff about people.
Donald Trump fucking hated her, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
He really thought she was a silly little girl, but she was like, well, actually, no, I'm speaking on behalf of my generation.
She was a voice and still is a voice of the generation. I saw a picture of her the other day holding a thing up about Ukraine and stuff like that. So, and she's relevant, and if anything, the youth, the new millennial, well, not even millennials or whatever, they'll want, like, someone new, isn't it? Not millennials at all. So that's the wrong age. Gen Z, is that the generation?
I don't know what the new one is actually.
I don't know. Yeah, and they needed someone, and she was that person, and she's done really well, really, to do what she's doing. Obviously, I'm sure many old-fashioned white men who have a lot of money in the oil business and all these things probably look at, oh, stupid little girl. I'm sure they all think that, but that's because they're intimidated and scared from her power.
And this, we always get, exactly as you just described, old white men who want to be in charge.
Lots of money, who are going to die in the next 15 years probably anyway, but seem to still be really greedy and want more and more and more.
Whether it's running corporations or countries, let's get people in that actually have some say, that are living now and are going to be around for a lot longer.
But they don't care because they're greedy and selfish.
They are. Well, talking of young people or young aliens, we also met Baby Yoda this year, because The Mandalorian came out, and Baby Yoda, or the child, or Grogu as we all found out his name to be,
it's really cool, that series as well.
Everywhere. Everyone wanted a Baby Yoda toy, and it became like the new Furbies.
I think Sarah's crocheted a few Baby Yodas. So yeah, and
you're right. The Mandalorian was a fantastic show.
Is there 3 series of them?
There's 2 series of the Mandalorian, and there's the Book of Boba Fett, which is pretty much the 3rd series.
Ah, okay. I need to watch that one then. I've seen the other 2 of Elijah. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Book of Boba Fett's good as well. Although some people didn't like it as much. It's very, very slow. But the last couple of episodes are like, whoa, okay.
I picked up the Rogue One earlier on Blu-ray.
Oh, that's good.
We
discussed that. It's one of your favourites of the new Star Wars.
I think it's because I don't have to watch a million other films, and it's just like, great, starts, finishes.
I just love seeing the AT-ATs on the beach. I think that looks really cool. Instead of seeing them walking through the snow, like an Empire Strikes Back.
I need to watch it again, though, to be honest. I can't remember, but I remember enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely. Something called TikTok, which came out a couple of years before 2019, has suddenly become a huge thing. 1.5 billion users by 2019.
Yeah, my kids.
You a TikToker, Gav?
No, my kids do it. I am, for my secret music project I'm doing, I will be having to go on TikTok and do that stuff.
Secret music project.
Which is still a ridiculous thing, which I don't even know how I've come into doing this thing, which you know of and no one else knows of.
Well, TikTok hit 1.5 billion. I've never been on it, but I know what it is.
Yeah, my kids show it, and they keep saying, Dad, aren't you going to get an account? What am I going to do?
My wife's obsessed with it, because in between baby feeds and whatever else, she can watch 10 minutes of absolute trash. And she knows it's awful. In fact, she deleted it. And then about 2 weeks later, I caught her and I said, "Are you watching TikTok? I thought you got rid of it." She said, "Oh, I said, "Look, you have a go at me for playing Candy Crush sometimes, because I still like the little game of Candy Crush."
It's like Instagram, though, isn't it? It's the same, because they see they know what you pause on and what things, so they bring up more of that. So that's catering it for you.
Well, that's why she got rid of it, because she started getting lots of really dark stuff coming up to do with like babies and PTSD and stuff. And
I have. Funny enough, I had that on Instagram the other day. It was a woman cuddling a child who's basically just died. And she was just going, she's like in hysterics. And I was like, what? No. No. I want to see tattoos and skateboarding. Like, well, yes, no.
That is what Instagram is for.
Yeah, so I went to my my settings and I changed the sensitivity. I put it to mid range. I was like, I don't want to see that.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, I obviously it's a horrible, bad thing, but I don't need to see it. I know these things are in the world.
Well, some good news this year. Almost, Trump was impeached in 2019.
He looks like a little peach.
He is a peachy looking motherfucker, isn't he? Not an awful lot happened. No. We all thought, hey, he's going to be, fired and locked up, but he didn't, as always.
It was just the past few years, just like Trump being in power, like, oh my God, is he going to do something crazy? Then all of a sudden COVID, now we got fucking Putin. It's just like, what is going on? They're not like little things. These are massive, like, involves everybody things.
Well, let me talk about the next thing then. The next thing involved our Prime Minister quitting her job, Theresa May.
Oh yeah.
She quit. She resigned because of Brexit.
I really would have preferred her to the buffoon we have now.
We have a fucking.
He looks
buffoon.
like a buffoon. Why have someone who looks like a buffoon?
Speaking to some of my American friends,
And they can't judge a book by its cover.
Speaking to some of our American friends and listeners and podcasters who have said to me in the past, "Oh, you must think, what the hell is going on with this Trump guy running our country?" And I said, "Look, it doesn't matter. It's it's not your fault, is it?" Now I think, now I know how you felt, because on a smaller level, we've got a fucking stupid buffoon running our country.
Schwarzenegger even said, "Who's this fucking idiot?" when he was mayor of London. Who's this? I think he called him a buffoon. No, I think he had to apologise later on because
Arnie knows the truth.
Oh, I'd rather just Arnie just do everything. Arnie just lead the world.
Please do. We had the Hong Kong protests, anti-government protests, huge amount of protests going on in Hong Kong, and that was all over the news as well. So the world was changing. Things were starting to happen.
And there was a thing called coronavirus happened, but it was very much the end of the year. It's not going to be worried about.
Right about November, December, China started getting a few.
I know. It was December. Sarah's daughter came in, and me and Sarah were in her bedroom, and she came in and just sort of said, "Oh, this corona." I said, "Don't worry about it. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. It's fine." Didn't think, and we just kind of laugh or whatever. We just thought it was just a news topic.
Yep.
And she was being silly.
In the next episode, we'll cover a bit more about that.
God.
There was a giant fire in Paris at Notre Dame.
Oh yes, of course. The roof went down. Yeah.
Which people were really unhappy with, because they raised millions and millions from famous actors and entertainers, gave millions to save it and rebuild it. But everyone was sort of saying, well, why can't you give that to climate change or countries in need of it?
It's because it's not sitting there in front of you, and
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an 850-year-old cathedral and really badly damaged, but I think they repaired an awful lot of it. You'll like this next news article, Cal, because I know you're really into the royal family. Harry and Meghan Markle had their baby.
Yeah, I don't know.
Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor.
Mountbatten?
Mountbatten Windsor. It's hyphenated.
Great.
Happy with that?
Yeah. They got the shit out of it, though, didn't they?
They fucked off.
They get out. Remember that poster? Did you see that poster?
Yeah, I do. Get out. They really did get out. And a gunman sadly opened fire at a mosque in New Zealand, killing 51 people and wounding another 49. And I'm sad to say that I've watched the video, because
I've not seen that.
He live streamed the whole thing.
Oh.
I didn't see the whole video, but I saw a lot of it, and it's like one of these video games where the guys are going around, I can't remember the names of them.
Is that when then back in England, someone retaliated and they tried running over some people outside of a mosque in London? Something like that happened as well.
Potentially, I don't have anything on that, but
yeah. Anyway, let's get off the bad news. That's not what we're here for.
China landed on the dark side of the moon,
like Pink Floyd did.
Just like Pink Floyd. Pink what? Pink Floyd. And to be honest with you, that's pretty much everything that happened in 2019 that's worth chatting about. But let's get on to movies. So just to give you a taste of where we were at, as always, non-horror first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Number one movie of the year, and one of the highest grossing movies of all time, is Avengers End Game.
See, I was like, oh, I need to watch that last Avengers movie. So I put it on. Don't remember any of it. Didn't like it really. And was watching it and they started saying something, and I was like, what? I was really confused. But this is the third one. This is the last one. And then I had to go back to the third, and I thought, this is number 4. And I've seen 3, and I've forgotten all about it. Forgotten about 2 as well. Number 1 I like, which I actually own on Blu-ray now, because I quite like that first movie. The first Avengers. I like this is the thing. I like the first ones. I like Spider-Man becoming Spider-Man. I like Iron Man becoming Iron Man. I like those set in stories. It's when it starts going off and it's like it's kind of lost that thing it had.
Sure. So you like the origin story more than anything?
Yeah. So I didn't even realise. So you were saying was this the fourth one? That is the actual end one. What was the third one called?
Infinity Wars.
See, and I hadn't realised it. This is. Oh no, I won't spoil it.
Which, in my opinion, is slightly better than Endgame, but the end of Endgame is one of the most amazing things. And I know you don't agree with this. And when I first said this to you, you said, "Well, how can you say that? The film's only just been out a month." Yeah. But Endgame in the cinema was the greatest cinematic experience I've ever had, because it's a combination of 10 years and 22 films worth, which I'm really into and love, and cinema. The atmosphere in the cinema was insane, especially when key moments happened. And everyone's seen it now. The film's 3 years old, so I'll mention it. Like the bit where Captain America picked up Thor's hammer. That people went ballistic. The bit where Wakanda walks through the portal and then everybody else that's coming through. People were going insane for it.
But that's the thing. You guys love that stuff, and I think fair play to you all. Like, you've all been waiting for that thing.
I waited 10 years for that.
To me, it kind of annoyed me because I watched the first Avengers. I was like, all right, I want the rest of these things before I forget about them. Time it comes round, I don't know who anybody is. Oh, that's Captain America. That's that big green one's Hulk. I know that. Do you know what I mean? But so for me, it's just I can't. But I understand for you guys. I totally get it. You read the comics. You've watched all the movies. You all know it backs and forwards. You know the lore. You know the characters. You know, for me, it's too much. But I totally appreciate where you're coming from a fan perspective. I totally understand it.
Well, flipping the script, a movie that came out in 2019 which you absolutely loved and I thought was a bit overhyped.
Oh, cool. Good. What?
Joker.
Yeah, I really liked it. I haven't seen it since. I've got to admit, I've not seen it since, but I really, really did enjoy what I watched.
I thought it was very well made and acted, but I just didn't get the hype that everyone was.
No, I don't understand the hype. I appreciated it for what I appreciated it for coming across as this kind of, I don't know, really weird kind of superhero almost, but not superhero obviously, kind of taxi driver type film. I really dug it, but no, I don't know why. Maybe because it was touching upon mental illness, and that is a big thing nowadays in the zeitgeist. Everybody's aware of it, and we think of this a little bit more.
Yeah.
So maybe something to do with that. I'm not sure what did it. But then again, we're living in a thing now where something could come out, and then for the next until it comes out, and then like 2 weeks after that's it. Everyone's mad about it. Everybody's fucking sharing it. Like that new Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
no one's doing it now.
No
one's doing it now. That's gone. If you look at it, no, there's no poster. Gone. That's gone. It's the same with news. If someone like a celebrity does something bad, their press people will say to them, "Don't worry about it. In 2 weeks' time, everyone will forget about it."
Yep. It's true. It is true.
It is. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Everyone's forgotten about Halloween Kills.
Oh yeah,
everyone started hating on Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, and it's just the way it is. So I think it's the same when people get hyped up for things as well. But that goes back to you guys with your Marvel films as well. Though. You guys got more of a populace of it and a more sustaining because the comics have been coming since the 60s. Marvel.
Marvel, yes, 60s really, 50s really, but 60s is really took off.
So it's got longevity there, it sustains.
Disney hit us with a few sequels this year. Frozen 2, Toy Story 4. They also did the Lion King live action, which I
watched Toy Story 4 again with Elijah the other day, actually.
I think you quite like that one, don't you?
Yeah. It's not too bad. We hadn't seen it since the cinema. He made about 50 minutes until in the cinema. He don't have a choice. He's got to stay sitting there. It's dark. He made about 50 minutes till he's bored. I'm about to turn it off. I was like, oh.
We also had the live-action Aladdin and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. We had a few other sequels: John Wick 3, Hobbs and Shaw, which is the Fast and Furious movie.
That was quite fun. I quite enjoyed that one.
You liked that? Yeah, I'm glad you got into those. We had Tarantino came back with a bit of the old Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which, that was a good film.
It is.
I've only seen it the once though.
Yeah, I've seen it twice. It is. It's all
It's
right.
on Netflix now. I'll probably check it out again.
I've got others of his I like: Inglorious, Hateful, Pulp, stuff like that.
Hateful Eight is, I think, my hands down favourite Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
And the only other one I probably would mention is Knives Out, which everyone
was
seems
fun.
to really love.
Yeah. And there's a sequels coming out at some point.
Yeah, that's cool. So, what came out horror? We are here in 2019 for horror. We had an interesting selection. Some very good, some very controversial. Let's start with the controversial. I love it. You hate it. Us.
Oh, me and you had a little discussion about this the other day. Yeah. I said that let's fucking settle this shit with fighting tone in my voice. Let's cover Us sometime so I can discuss the ridiculousness of it with you. I might be wrong. I might watch it again and go, that was amazing. I completely understand what they're going for there, but I don't think so.
Well, that's cool. I really liked it.
And I went to cinema,
you weren't so sure.
Excited as fuck. Then 20 minutes went into it, said, well, should have stopped it 20 minutes in, because that's the mystery element, and no, I'm not doing it now. I'm not doing it now.
We also got Ready or Not, which I thought this was brilliant.
That was fun.
Similar sort of idea to Get Out. She gets married and then finds out that the family of her partner had nothing what she thought they were.
I watched a film the other day, same sort of thing. Probably might have come out around the same time on Netflix, The Hunt.
My God, that film is incredible.
I really enjoyed that film. I didn't really know what was going on. I thought, it's on my queue. Chuck it on.
The woman in that, the actress in that, female actor, is phenomenal. I just loved it. Really good movie.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Is that the one that ends really brutally all of a sudden?
Possibly.
Okay. Well, let's not spoil it.
I can't even think really how it ends now.
We had a horror superhero movie came out this year, which I'm a massive fan of, called Brightburn.
Yes, I am a fan, and I own DVD.
It's really, the kid in it is great, and
really
it's basically what if Superman decided, fuck it, I'm gonna just kill these humans.
Yeah, I watched it with Jay, and Jay's a bit like that, and I was like, I really like that film.
And it's got a really good bit of eye trauma in it with a piece of glass.
Because I think some people kind of dissed it, I think, on the
It did get dissed, but...
And I was like, why?
I was thinking, and this is probably something we should have a conversation we should have off air, but I was thinking that we could cover that and Chronicle one day, because they're two horror superhero films. And they're very unique. And I know you quite like Chronicle as well, if I remember
rightly. I didn't mind it, yeah. Found footage. Max Landis.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Dirty boy.
Also this year we had Ma. M-A, Ma.
Not seen it.
It's all right. I enjoyed the Child's Play remake.
Did I see
Mark Hamill did the voice of Chucky.
I don't think I've seen it.
Okay. It's on Netflix.
Maybe I did see it and I didn't like it and I've put it out of my mind.
I quite enjoyed it, but it kind of got lukewarm reviews. But that came out this year, as did Hellboy.
Oh no, I think I saw it and I didn't like it. Hellboy, okay, I've not seen that.
No one really liked it, but they did film scenes of it in Bristol.
Ron Perlman, was it?
That's correct.
Yeah. I don't really care for any of the Hellboy movies. Not my fault.
It's the guy from Stranger Things. Glass came out this year. M. Night Shyamalan. You seen it?
No, I don't think so. I'm not really interested.
A movie that I've kept this opinion to myself, but I'm going to say it now. The next film that came out in 2019 is, everybody would say it's probably the best film of the year, horror-wise. I thought it was really boring and didn't really get it, and that's Midsommar.
Yeah, I saw it in cinema, and I actually thought the other day, I need to watch that again.
Yeah, I need to watch it again. It's on Netflix. I'm not going to write it off. I remember watching it thinking, same as when I watched Hereditary. I thought, everyone's overhyped this, but when I went back and watched it a couple more times, it's brilliant. So I think with Midsommar, I'm going to like it.
Did Doctor Sleep come out this year as well?
I think that came out the year before, I think.
Oh, okay. I watched Midsommar. At this point, any horror movies, if I was with Sarah, we would have been to the old pictures to watch them.
There was a movie that hit Netflix, which me and you were very excited about, because it starred Bill Murray, Adam Driver, and it was all about zombies, a zombie comedy. The dead don't die.
What a absolute waste of everybody's time, money, and effort. What a waste.
Piece of shit.
What a waste. Oh, yeah, but it's because it's that guy and that's how he makes his films. Well, don't make films like that. What the fuck? What didn't...
The single worst point in that film is when he says, put the cassette on. He said, what song is this? He's like, it's the soundtrack to this movie that we're in. What? Why are you being meta now? I don't understand.
Just what an absolute waste. That could have been a good film. We were like, oh my god, that sounds amazing. Bill Murray in a zombie movie. That sounds fucking great. And just wasted.
Everything I wanted, and it was shit. You're right. Doctor Sleep did come out this year.
Yeah, because we went to see it in the cinema, and Sarah did not like it, and I did, and I do own it. I've not seen the director's cut, which is on Amazon Prime.
Just about to say.
3 hours, I think. Yeah, director's cut.
I was a big fan of it. And,
have you seen it?
I've not seen the director's cut, and I do want to. Yeah. But I really want to double bill it with The Shining and just really do the back to back.
It's quite a lot to watch for you with your young babies.
Yeah, kick them out the house for a few hours. Good.
Yeah.
I know that you're a big fan of our next one, the Banana Splits movie.
Yeah, I don't know if I even watched it. Did I? I might have watched it.
I think you watched it.
I watched it because Sarah gave Jay a copy. No, and I watched it to make sure it was suitable for them. And obviously, like, yeah, just watch it. It's fine.
It was weird. It was. I don't even really know what I think of it. Really, I just know I'm thinking it was a very strange film. Crocodile film though, we both loved it. Cruel.
Yeah, good movie.
Great movie. As was The Lighthouse.
Yes, I'm a big fan of that one.
It Chapter 2.
Yes, that's okay.
Yeah. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I was really disappointed with that.
I've seen most of these films in the cinema. Yes, that was a bit shit, isn't it? It's a shame.
Did you watch 3 from Hell at the cinema?
Yes.
You saw it at Fright Fest, I think.
No, I didn't. I got DVD and watched it and promptly sold it. No, I didn't. I gave it away to a charity shop.
It was awful, wasn't it?
Fucking shit.
That was just, cemented
it's got
to me.
Down to Rob Zombie and just his pure fans now. It really is. They're the ones that are keeping his mortgage going. It's like, fucking hell. What are you doing? Stop fucking around. Really. I'm gonna do Monsters movie. Why? Because I like it. Fair play, great. You've got the power to do the stuff you like. You're basically a young child doing whatever you want, but it's just, again, wasting it. Stop making shit and just fucking use someone else's script. Sorry. I really wanted. I was like, oh, I love Rob Zombie. White Zombie is fucking amazing. I love that first album, second album, and like House of Thousand Corpses, that's so good, you know. And then you just have such a thing for him, like with Eli Roth, and just be like,
I agree. I completely agree.
And Rob Zombie makes the most so good looking grimy 70s film. He knows how to make that movie.
Yeah.
He just makes it from his script, which is shit.
Couple of sequels. Happy Death Day 2 You came out this year.
Is it? Sorry. Is it? Is Ego, do you think?
I've opened up the can of worms here, listeners.
But seriously, it must be his ego or something. Like, he has to do, well, I'm going to be the writer, I'm going to be the director, I'm going to... Like, you don't... Surely, he would rather make an amazing horror movie, which everyone goes, fucking hell, that's amazing. Like, make a movie which sits there with all of his favourite horror movies, because he's a massive horror fan. But... still goes and makes these movies. Obviously, he's making a movie that he likes, but surely, do you not want to make a fucking incredible movie and get a talented scriptwriter? Do you know what I mean?
At the very least, maybe he could just make like an extended music video for one of his new songs. Like Michael Jackson would always make like these 10, 15-minute music videos. Do one of those, but don't subject us to an hour and 20, an hour and 30 minutes of your absolute nonsense.
But he can make an amazing movie apart from the story and script. It's the same shit every time. It's like characters that we don't really care about saying the same vile shit.
and they're not. I just can't stomach them. I can stomach a lot of things.
I don't even know if I bought, because I was like, Free from Hell. Yeah, I pre-ordered it, so there's a bit more money in his pocket. I'd rather not fucking given him. Fucking twat.
How about Godzilla Godzilla King of the Monsters?
Yeah, it's enjoyable. King of the Mo. When me and Jay went to cinema one time, the some poster falling over the top of it, and it said King of the Mo. I was like,
Brilliant.
Nice. Godzilla King of the Mo. That was okay. Wasn't amazing, I think.
We had a couple of entries into the Wanaverse.
Mm-hmm.
Annabelle Comes Home. Haven't seen it.
No, I haven't seen it.
Curse of La Llorona. I haven't seen
it. I don't really care.
What about Pet Sematary, the remake? I was a fan of this.
Yeah, again, I did a lot of cinema trips this year. That's because we were still allowed. Yeah, it was okay.
Did you get around to watching a film called Extraordinary? It's a British-Irish movie.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, quite fun, quite different.
Don't really remember.
Felt a bit like Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, that style of...
Yeah, I think it was almost okay, but then it kind of wasn't as good as it could have been, or something. My own opinion, obviously.
Last couple, really. We had the Black Christmas remake, let's move on. We had Little Monsters, the zombie comedy, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. The Irish movie The Hole in the Ground. You seen that one?
No, you told me to watch it, but no, I haven't.
And finally, and I've saved the best till last, Colour Out of Space.
Okay, yeah.
What a mixed bag. What a huge selection.
Yeah, because it's going to slow down.
Yeah. So I've probably said 20, 25, maybe close to 30 films there. And at least half of them are very enjoyable, if not more. You saw most of those at the cinema. A lot of those ones I've listed there.
Yeah.
Great year for horror, really. Whether you like some of it or not, some of the remakes maybe perhaps weren't needed. Some of the sequels certainly weren't needed. But if you're a horror fan, it's a great time to be alive.
Indeed.
Just soak it up, because 2020, unfortunately, we're not going to see fuck all. We're going to get, the Candyman's about to come out. No, it's not going to come out for another year, actually.
I'm interested, but that means in 2 episodes' time, we've got to retire this.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
We'll figure it out.
We need a new segment.
I might go forward in time and see what horror movies.
Let's just make up movies.
Yeah.
I think we said that before. I'm well up for making up some films. We've already made up Streets of Rage, me and you.
Streets of Rage.
Streets of Cage. It could be Nicky Cage and Nicky Cage.
Why calling him Nicky? Nicky Cage,
me,
your buddy.
Me and Nicky. It would be Nicolas Cage with his twin brother Nicolas Cage doing Streets of Rage. Streets of Cage.
Streets of Cage.
That'd be well good. Somebody make that poster now.
Like that Van Damme movie where he plays twins.
Double Impact. I used to like the old Van Damme movies.
Double the Van Damme.
It's kind of innocent, like Time Cop and all those ones. It's just kind of a bit like, yeah, it's all right.
I like
fun.
Time Cop. Jesus Christ. Must be all the coronavirus that's seeping in towards the end of 2019. Let's get you back in this time machine then. All right, there you go, guys. 2019, decent year. Make the most of it. And we'll go back to the future now in 2022. Here we go. Ready?
People living in the ruin of the old world. Only one thing fighting for order in the chaos. The men and women of the Hall of Justice.
Peachtree's is the manufacturing base for all the slow-mo in Mega City 1.
You know how often we get a judge up in Peachtree's?
Well, you got one now.
She has control of everything. Levels 1 to 200.
This is Mama. Somewhere in this block are 2 judges.
That's not good.
I want him dead.
We're gonna have to go through him. Rookie, you ready?
Yeah.
You look ready.
Fire!
Judgment time.
Let's finish this.
Law is not the law. I'm the law. Negotiation's over. The sentence is death.
Dredd from 2012, hour and 35-minute film, 7.1 on the old IMDb, the IMDb. In a violent futuristic city where the police have the authority to act as judge, jury and executioner, a cop teams with a trainee to take down a gang that deals the reality-altering drug slow-mo.
He is not Judge, Judy and executioner.
It's a real fun film. Now, did you read 2001 AD?
I dabbled. So it was one of those
dabbled a little bit.
It was one of those ones where, because it is a bit more for adults, there were certain comics that I had to hide from my mum and dad. Even though they're comic books. Punisher, some stuff like this, 2000 AD. Also, I think some Daredevil comics were a bit more extreme as well. There was a couple of I think Ghost Rider. There's a few that I had to hide from my parents. There was a Conan comic I bought occasionally as well. And this was one of them. I wouldn't let my mum and dad see that I had 2000 AD because there was a lot of blood and guts and boobs sometimes in some of the stories.
That's so funny you had to do it. My parents didn't give a shit. I literally anything. Did not give a shit.
I'm not sure if my parents would have cared, but I hid it from them.
My parents have never had any interest. So they that sounds awful. But I mean as in that stuff, whatever I'm watching or whatever I'm reading or anything, literally no interest of what it is, if it's an 18 or anything. No, nothing at all. Not even thinking Gav might be watching something he shouldn't be watching. Yes, I was definitely watching things I should not be watching. I was way too young to be watching RoboCop. And yeah, they didn't give a shit. So it's so funny you had to do that with comics, though. That's crazy.
Yeah, I hid comics. I hid rap tapes.
Oh my god!
Yeah, because my mum and dad knew I love rap music, but anytime there was I went out and I bought Public Enemy and something else, and it had parental advisory on the front of it on the cassette. Yeah. So if it said that, I didn't tell my mum about it.
I remember listening to The Doors once where Jim Morrison says, "Show me the way to the next little girl. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why." And he sings that repeatedly for a while. My mum's like, "What? What? What's he saying?"
Yeah, I remember my mum went crazy because she overheard the Wu-Tang Clan coming up my bedroom, and it was "Bring the motherfucking ruckus, bring the motherfucking ruckus," and then it was Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. And then she said, "What was all that coming out of your bedroom?" And I said, "Oh, it's the Wu-Tang Clan. They're sort of really into sort of kung fu and martial arts."
Ban? What?
And she said, "Well, they don't sound bloody Chinese to me," is what she said.
Wow.
She was so angry.
My parents didn't care. No, didn't care.
So angry. So, yes.
My parents didn't care. So angry.
In answer to your question, I did look at this comic occasionally. Dredd was one of the main, probably the biggest character really in it, Judge Dredd. Obviously, a movie came out in the 90s with Stallone. And as everyone knows, Judge Dredd never reveals his face. He is I think it's Judge Joseph Dredd is his full name. And he is living in the future. And he's judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah, I used to watch. I've never really been a massive comic fan. It's all the words, isn't it? Got to read. It's not the reason. I just, for whatever reason, didn't go towards it. But I did used to read Scream for old school British heads as a British comic, which only had a very small life span, and it had an episode in it called The 13th Floor, which they should make into a TV show. Anybody with a lot of money make into a TV show, because each episode could be another floor, you see. Well, the same floor, but basically on the 13th floor, things would happen. Like outside one day, there's a gang outside and they're spray painting graffiti on the walls, and the building inside would have like a computer system which would control it all, and a guy who, I think he's called Dan, would be in charge of it or whatever and work with him. But he was kept out of all the bad stuff. He just knew all the innocent stuff. He said, have you sorted that computer? But, oh yeah, no worries, Dan, that's all sorted. Where actually the computer's probably destroyed or killed them. So the 13th floor would be their fear. So the graffiti people think they were scared of spiders, and the whole 13th floor was just this massive, huge spider. And they're like, and they get killed. Anyway, regardless, Scream finished, and it went to 2001 AD. Strangely. So I started looking at it and I was like, this is kind of weird, because these stories I really relate to is in the horror, the gore, the darkness of it, but it's a bit too futuristic or something. It just doesn't, it's a weird one, it's a real strange one, but I did kind of like it. Dredd was one I liked. I liked that Trooper one. What was a Trooper?
Strontium Dog?
No, there's a guy who had a helmet on and a rucksack. He's an army guy.
I don't know.
Something Trooper.
What I would say for anyone who is wondering what we're talking about. So in the UK, we had very early 80s. Don't think it was as early as the 70s. There was this comic book which Dredd was one of the characters from, and it was a collection of different characters, and it was called 2000 AD, and it was real politically charged punk. You could tell all the guys that were doing it had a real like punk attitude, and there was very violent, very adult themes, but they all had a moral or a message that they were trying to get across. And it was, surprisingly, Judge Dredd is as far as I'm aware, is the only comic book that's ever kind of come from it. It's the same guys that probably went on to make things like The Watchmen. Alan Moore, I think it is. I'm sure he probably would have worked on, or if not, he should have worked on 2000 AD. But yeah, Dredd was the standout character, and rightly so. It's set in this futuristic world where we've nuked the shit out of each other, and all that's left are these buildings. Mega City 1, Mega City 2, all these mega cities all around.
Rogue Trooper was the other character.
Yes, I know the one you mean.
And for a very short period of time, I did actually sorry, I know you started
that's all right.
Started there, but I'm still talking. A very small period of time, I did date a lady whose dad was one of the original artists.
You did, I remember that.
For Judge Dredd, which is kind of crazy, and I've got an original picture of his. But yes, I didn't really know of that much, but I did kind of like Dredd. I never saw that Sylvester Stallone one, I don't think. It just looked a bit cheesy and shit. But when this came out, though, I was like, this looks good. But it did get overshadowed by The Raid, which was, funny enough, even though it being a foreign language, and some people kind of veer away from that, I think The Raid's martial arts kind of took over this when it came out to cinemas, and this kind of got a little bit under the radar.
Yeah, people didn't really know what to think of this.
It's good though. Do the fans like this?
They absolutely love it, and they wish there was going to be a sequel. They loved Carl Urban, and I think Carl Urban is incredible in this.
I showed you that video with the director saying why there's not going to be a sequel.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those ones where, in a way, I'm glad, because I do worry that if they made a sequel, would it be as good? I don't know.
No, it doesn't. Does it need a sequel? It's pretty decent. You could but it's not going to be another story. It's going to be a standalone story again, which is fine. You could do that, but does it then need that? Because then it's like, oh, now do you need 3? But actually, why do you? Because they don't actually connect. So do you need 2? Not really. I think this is good as.
Where I think this movie Dredd is great is whether you're a younger film fan. It appeals to 3 big areas. It appeals to comic book fans, like older comic book fans that remember Dredd. Also, it will appeal to newer comic book fans that will be like, oh, who's this Dredd guy? I'm going to get into that. But then also, if you're just a moviegoer, just action films, you're going to love this as well.
So, was Dredding outside of UK?
I should imagine 2000 AD was sold abroad.
But was he popular in the States and stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because it was like that. It was like that punk underground thing going on, and then they became huge. Like 2000 AD, then became huge. I also think that this film will also appeal to. I just think the pure fans love it because at the end of the day, you put Carl Urban in a film, and you don't show his face, which is as it should be, really, with Dredd.
Yeah. And
the effects are incredible. The story's probably the weakest element.
Funny though, the story's written by Alex Garland.
Yes, it is.
You know, who wrote 28 Days Later. He wrote Annihilation. Yeah, he wrote Ex Machina. Yeah.
And apparently he directed this as well.
He directed Ex Machina as well, and Annihilation.
But apparently he directed Dredd.
Oh.
So the rumor is that he actually was on set at
controversy
95% of the time, and actually it's been confirmed, not confirmed but not confirmed, if you will, by many people, that this was actually directed by him. So this is the first movie he directed, some people are saying.
Are we having a poltergeist thing going on here?
It is a bit of a poltergeist Steven Spielberg thing, yes, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did have a big say in what was going on.
What was going on with the director Pete Travis? Because obviously he looks quite passionately but a slightly angry person in that video I sent you.
Yeah, I personally think, from what I've read, he was having a bit of a mental breakdown, and things weren't always going how he wanted them to go.
The whole, like, when you do have we directed some episodes of The Bill, which is a UK police TV show. When you do have, like, some of these projects on your head, this is what it scares me to getting actually into professional filmmaking, to be honest with you. Just the pressures of it, I think my mind would break slightly.
So I've just found, it says JoeBlow.com interviewed Carl Urban a couple of years ago, and he confirmed that the film was actually directed by Alex Garland, which is why Pete Travis did not promote the film in any way. So although he gets the credit, Alex Garland actually directed.
But why then is this director Pete fella doing that? Is he doing that because he felt it unjusted that if he went out and talked about it, he didn't redo it, and he felt he let himself down? So is this an ego thing, or because really when it comes down to it, you need to promote the film so people can see it?
Well, the same year the film came out, towards the end of the year, the LA Times reported that Pete Travis was prohibited from participating in the editing process following creative disagreements between all the producers and executives. Alex Garland took over the editing process and potentially the directing. His contribution was considered significant enough for him to then seek a co-director credit. So he's obviously trying to get his name on there because he did actually direct this. But this was a situation considered unusual, as Garland had never directed a film before and never been in charge of any filming. The disagreement concerned a disapproval over the footage that Travis was providing. Although Travis was removed from the editing process, he was monitoring the progress. He was allowed to monitor the progress of the film. Travis and Garland released a joint statement later that year, claiming they had agreed on an unorthodox collaboration before production began. Okay. So basically, Alex Garland did direct it, but he wasn't allowed to have a directing credit. So Pete Travis Probably would have sued them if they'd have taken his name off.
It might be because of the guilds, like Writing Guild and Directors Guild, and just not being able to do that. But that's strange they say that, because 4 years before, Pete Travis directed Vantage Point with Dennis Quaid, Forrest Whitaker, Scrawny Weaver. So, like, he had directed a feature film. So, I don't know where that's coming from. Maybe they're just trying to get themselves out of it.
Quite often when a director comes in halfway through, or there's a squabble over, who's got the reins of a movie, you can really sense it, and the films feel disjointed or messed up.
This doesn't.
Absolutely doesn't at all. They've done a good job, which is why I think only one man directed it.
It makes more sense if Alex Garland. He wrote it as well, so it's gonna be.
He probably would have done it with Pete assisting him, because Pete is a director.
I don't want to say that, because if the director was listening to this, I think that would infuriate him. You saying that?
Yeah, well, I don't know. This is just me speculating, But Carl Urban confirmed that it was directed by Alex Garland.
After the director did, pretty much, it did look like he did one feature, but most of it looked like TV series. He went back into TV. Yeah. It can be hard, though, doing this shit, It really can.
Yeah, totally. Especially if it's affecting your mental health.
Well, yeah.
Josh Trank is a good example of what can happen to a director.
He was, when you talk about that, then that's what made me think about this a little bit, what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, because he did, he was the golden boy, wasn't he, at one point, and then halfway through Star Wars, it all went absolutely wrong, and they got Ron Howard in to direct the last part of it, I think. Was that right? Ron Howard directed the rest of Solo movie?
He was opening his mouth up too much, though, wasn't he? On Twitter and all that stuff. Well, just leave it alone. Just don't bother. Just get on with your work.
Disney are paying you to make a Star Wars movie. Just
do it. Just get on with it. Like,
you're going to get some good money out of this.
It's just silly, really.
But at the same time, I guess, if you feel passionately, then speak out, but don't expect to get another job.
It is hard, though. It is hard. But saying all that, this movie comes across pretty solidly, so that's a little bit of a real background there, but it doesn't at any point. We don't need to use that as our wild Joker card to pull in when we're reviewing it and saying, oh, this point went really bad, didn't it? I guess this goes back to the fact we don't need to do that.
No, we've got a solid script, solid actors, really good actors in this. We've got fantastic effects. We've got a budget which is just about the right budget, because it was shot in South Africa, so it's all very cheap to film there, and most of the 90% of the film takes place in a building, probably even 95% of the place. So you should probably use the same 10 sets redecorated each time. The only real effects really are like the slow motion and maybe the Judge Dredd bike at the beginning, the Lawmaster. It doesn't take a lot, and Carl Urban is fantastic in it. Now, I'm a big Carl Urban fan. I like him in pretty much everything he does.
Casting is very good.
Yeah, it's really good. Lena Headey as Mama, she's great as well.
Really
real
good. That scar is really good on her cheek.
Yeah, she's a real nasty piece of work, isn't she? When she puts the knife in that guy's belly button while he's on the phone to Judge Dredd, and she's just got the knife in his belly button, and you're thinking, oh man, that is not good. Apparently, Carl Urban kept the helmet on in between takes, didn't take it off as soon as he was on set. He was in the helmet, so nobody would ever see anything other than his chin.
Yeah, and that Clint Eastwood,
he's really funny as well, though. The only person he really talks to other than the trainee is his gun.
Yeah,
and it's great because he's like high explosive or rapid fire.
It's the sort of thing as a kid. That's the ultimate. The gun you can talk to, it has all these different types of things you can do.
Flamethrower. It's so good.
It's just so good.
Because even his bike's a bit like that. Because in that first Batman movie by Tim Burton, Batman gets out of the Batmobile and he goes, shields. And then the car cocoons itself. And then when he gets off his bike and he comes across those three bodies, and I know we're jumping ahead, we'll start the review properly in a minute. Yeah. He says to his bike, initiate crowd disperse. And then the bike's like, whoop, 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 stay back, this is a crime scene. And it's like, even your bike's doing your job.
What I like about this film is it's essentially RoboCop
Oh, it is RoboCop.
Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry, RoboCop. It's RoboCop mixed with Dirty Harry.
It is. Yeah.
It really is. There's another movie in there as well somewhere. I can't remember what it is. But
it's definitely RoboCop, and in fact, I think I might have talked to RJ about this, but I can really see RoboCop and Judge Dredd existing in the same universe. Do you know what I mean? Like one city's trying to bring back cops from the dead, and another city's like, no, we got judges in our city, so we're doing that.
Okay, here we go. This is what it is. Basically, Dirty Harry's on the case, gets shot by a gang. They put a robot head on him and stuff, and say, oh, off you go, out you go. And it's basically Clint Eastwood as Dirty Harry as RoboCop.
Amazing.
That is Dredd. Imagine
if this universe existed, RoboCop versus Judge Dredd. That must have been a comic book, I'm sure. They've done this. But imagine that. You'd have like Murphy sort of trying to you cannot do that. You know, you've got to do the prime directives. And he's like, I'm judge, jury, and executioner. It'd just be like these guys going at each other. Then they'd obviously team up at the end and take down whoever the baddie was together. But
yeah, totally. But that is it. If you want to know what this film is, RoboCop and Dirty Harry.
And that's Dredd from 2012. So brilliant.
See you later. Thanks again. It's a great film.
Let's get into it. So we start off with a very small amount of backstory. The voiceover, which is basically loads and loads of nuclear wars have happened. They built Mega City 1, Mega City 2, Mega City 3. But
it's that voice of Dredd being audio descriptive of this montage of what's going on in the city, but that real another planet has done this, and it's a real that voice basically.
It's almost comical, but it works.
It's great though. Straight away you're just like, yeah, this is the world we've been going into. This post-apocalyptic, just everything's horrible, but there's this one crime outfit which does the whole lot, and they kill people too.
It's not as silly as the Batman, the Christian Bale Batman voice.
That's the other movie that this is. It's Batman, Dirty Harry, and RoboCop. Yeah.
But he hasn't got the stupid voice in that. This isn't a car. Ridiculous. So we see that there is these things called judges, and they work for the Hall of Justice, and they are judges, they are juries, and they're executioners. They basically are allowed to go out.
Yeah.
And just pretty much do whatever the fuck they want if it falls within a crime.
But they've got this city is overrun with crime, and what they do, is it like 6% or something really small? What they're doing just takes away a super small percentage of the crime.
Yeah, he says to the trainee cop at some point, he says, even if we responded to every single thing, we'd only be stopping about 6% of crime.
And she's like, well, what one do we go for? He says, it's your call. What one do you think's the most important?
But he comes across as really almost nice, even though he's not, because he says to her, well, if you want to become a judge, I'll let you do whatever you want and I'll just back you up. It's always going to be your call. But don't forget, if you fuck up today, or you get your gun taken off you, or you get killed, or anything goes wrong, you fail instantly, and you won't become a cop.
He isn't as Dirty Harry is, really like bomb myself, fuck that. Even though Dirty Harry actually had partners, he still does, even though he's just sometimes I'm going against the book, he does stay with the book. When through this the whole time, he is the whole time assessing. Basically, he's gone on a job. They've said, you've got a rookie, like all of these cop movies go on to, Lethal Weapon, etc. Whatever. You've got a new partner. Oh God, so okay. Well, actually, he doesn't protest that. Then they get together and they go out. But the main guy is almost assessing the rookie. It's in the rookie. Yeah. Clint Eastwood did that with Charlie Sheen. It's been done a million times. But through this though, Dredd is the whole time, even when it's got really bad, your call, Rocky, what'd you say? And he's the whole time. So actually, he is still, I think, more than Dirty Harry with the police system, but not as much as RoboCop.
Man, you just reminded me that we once covered a film where Clint Eastwood took on Jim Carrey was in it.
Oh, Deadpool.
Who was the baddie in it?
Liam Neeson.
Oh, Liam Neeson.
I thought about that movie the other day because I looked at my Blu-ray box set and I was like, I've got to watch those Dirty Harrys
Don't forget, Guns N' Roses were in it as a cameo at the funeral as well. What a movie.
It's a great film. Yeah, really good.
Really good. Yeah. Anyway, back to Dredd. So, Dredd is on patrol. He's on his Lawmaster motorcycle, and he gets a call. There's 3 suspects. They're drug users. They're using this slow-mo drug. So this slow-mo drug slows you down to, I think it's 1%.
It's crazy. It's good visuals, and it's just really cool.
So you take it through like an asthma inhaler.
But not killing people, throwing them off balconies.
Yeah, because you're going to just be there forever falling in your head. So Dredd tracks down this van with these guys in it, and they're like, oh shit, it's a judge.
This is RoboCop. Can you fly, Bobby? It's that scene in RoboCop.
Yeah, I suppose it is. They start shooting at Dredd, who's in pursuit. And I love this, but they say on the radio, they're like, "What? Are you okay? Do you need backup?" Negative. Doesn't need backup. It's Dredd. He'll do this on his own. He takes out their tires. The whole van flips over. He goes over there. They're all dead, apart from one guy who escapes. And Dredd follows him. There's a bit of a standoff.
But this is when he runs the guy over straight away. It's like, oh, this reminds me of the guy in RoboCop getting run over. Then when he goes over to the place and Dredd goes over to him, it reminded me of Dirty Harry when he goes in the shop to shit. I was a bit like, this is weird.
It also reminded me
of other films.
It also reminded me of the scene in RoboCop where he's got the girl and RoboCop shoots through her dress. Yeah. So the guy's like, "What are you going to do? You're going to shoot me? You're going to shoot me? I'll shoot her." And Dredd says, "You've got one opportunity for me to not kill you, and you can get put in a whatever they call the cells for however many years it is."
Do you know what I was thinking of here? Cobra.
It is Cobra as well.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
So eventually he says, "Hotshot," which is the name of his bullet, which is like, it means, so the bullet comes out of his gun and goes in the guy's mouth, and his whole head turns into like Ghost Rider head, flame head.
Yeah.
And that's it. That poor girl is going to be...
She's fucked for life.
A man's head just caught fire right next to her. After being held hostage. But Dredd did what he needed to do.
I do love, before he goes in, when he does say to his motorbike, crowd control.
Yeah, I love it.
It's almost like having a dog with you or some company, isn't it? Having this computer, which is so good, this thing. You can get to do stuff.
He only speaks to his bike and his gun, really.
It's cool, yeah.
He's just happy to do that. Well, back at the Hall of Justice, we meet Anderson, who is revealed to be a psychic. She's telepathic.
A mutant, apparently.
Or, for slang, Gav, a mutie.
Ooh.
Down with muties. We see graffiti all around the place. Down with muties. We don't like muties. Yeah, and she can actually read people's minds.
Racist.
And she's, yeah, well, they're mutist. Mutist is what they are. So they're testing her, and she can read, the mind of this guy, and they basically have given her just one day. That's all she's got on the field. It's sink or swim.
She didn't pass all her tests. That's why. The reason she's got in is because of her kinetic and her psychic powers.
Yeah. So the head of the Law of Justice, whatever she's called, says she's got one day. You sink or swim. Basically, if she gets killed, she's not going to be a police officer. But if she survives and she does a good enough job, yeah, she might get the job. She's got to survive it first. So she gets...
It's always the first day with these rookies, isn't it? In these movies as well.
Do you know
always
what I mean?
The first day. Yeah.
So she gets cobbled up with the Dredd to be her assessor, basically. He's going to assess her for the day.
Assessment starts now.
You get your weapon taken off of you. Assessment is over. He just tells her the rules. But she's really smart. She's not your typical... Like, in the 80s, she would have been a different character. But in this movie, she's very much a strong female. She's her own woman. She can handle herself. We find out later on she's a badass when it comes to kicking ass, as well as the fact she's got one over on everyone. And because she's a psychic. But Judge Dredd also says to her later on, you should be wearing a helmet. And she's like, if I wear a helmet, I can't use my psychic ability. So it works really, really well. I love it. So we've got the setup for our two heroes, Dredd and Anderson, and we know what's going on with them. Now, we are now introduced in the bathtub to Lena Headey playing Mama, who's the head of... She's like the Indonesian drug lord from the Raid. but sexier and in a bath with a giant scar down her face.
And she apparently got into the top block and worked her way down, taking over every block until she's in charge.
She owns that building. Absolutely owns that building.
And again, we're starting up with this this effect that they do, which is real nice effect.
Talk to us about it, Gav. Talk to us about it.
It's really, really slowed down film shots. So you're getting just so many fucking frames a second. You can really slow it down. It's like she's in the bar, so it's really pretty because you're getting the bubbles real, like, and they're really glistening. They've put a lot of colour on them, and they've put a lot of effects on them and whatnot. It just looks really nice. It's slowed down. The sound goes slows down. People talk as and it's.
And we should mention that this was released in 3D as well at the cinema.
Oh man, that would have been good.
So apparently it was very good in 3D. I didn't see it. I only saw it in 2D at the cinema. But yeah, and she's in the bath. She's doing slow-mo, like Gab says. She takes this drug, which she sells as well. Apparently this is the drug to do it. It slows everything down to about 1% in your brain. One of her henchmen comes in and says, I got these 3 guys out here. They're the ones that sort of double-crossed you. So she says, okay, skin them and throw them off the balcony.
But give them slow-mo.
Well, he says, should we give them slow-mo first? She goes, yeah, sure, why not?
Crazy. So they're just skinned, falling off a building in slow motion.
But I guess if you gave them slow-mo and then skin them, they're going to have to put up with that pain going on for ages, and then they fall off the building.
But one of them actually only gets a slow-mo when she's about to be thrown off the building, so I don't know.
Oh, that's true, yeah. So we get the view of we're on the ground now with all the people at the bottom of Peach Trees, which is the name of the building.
And it's general people. It's just normal people.
And suddenly, splat.
Just missing a woman with a pushchair.
And then splat again. And then splat again. All 3 of them come splatting down.
And it's kind of real graphic. And it's as graphic as Verhoeven's RoboCop. That's what I think this film is. The violence and the blood is in that vein. Excuse the pun.
Of course, someone calls the cops, and Blood in the Veins. That could be the name of a new rap album.
Me and you.
Yeah, Blood in the Veins.
G&D.
Follow up to Diarrhea of a Madman.
Diarrhea of a Madman.
So Dredd and Anderson, they hear the call, and he says to her, look, it's up to you. Which job do you want to take? Yeah. She's like,
which 6% should we save?
So she says, well, let's do the multiple homicides at Peachtree's. Yeah. So they head over to Peachtree's block. They enter the block. And this is where he gives her a bit of a rundown now. This is like in The Raid. He says to her, 75,000 people live in here. And he says, right, let's check the bodies out.
It's a bit of a slum, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awful. There's that homeless guy. And they say to him,
go on.
Assess him. And she says, you shouldn't be doing that. You're loitering. I can put you away for 20 years. And so Judge Dredd just says to him, don't be here when we get back.
Yeah, and he just looks and, yeah, okay. But I love the fact they've got a mini ramp on the side of the building.
A what?
A mini ramp.
A mini rap?
A mini ramp.
Oh, why do you love that fact?
Because it's cool as fuck. There's a skateboard ramp on the side of the building.
Oh, right, I see what you mean. Yeah,
mini ramp.
Like a half pipe.
Yeah, a mini ramp.
Yeah. Because later on that comes into play, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I was thinking then, what are you talking about? Like a disabled ramp?
Well, it's a fairly big mini ramp. It's not a vert or anything, but yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, no, it is really cool, and it's awesome that they can skate on the side of the building. And
it's cool as fuck. It really
in the future, people are still skateboarding, which is cool.
Absolutely.
So they check the bodies of these 3 splattered, skinned people, and they can see from their tattoos and their IDs that they're part of the Mama clan.
And you've got the score going on here is this very much the same as Ennio Morricone's The Thing with the dum-dum, dum-dum, dum-dum. And that's going on, and I thought, that's very strange. It's quite mysterious, but it's very much like that. And it's nice bit of synth music and scoreness.
It's very industrial. At times, now I don't really know White Zombie that well. We talked about Rob Zombie, funny enough, earlier. You got me in. You said listen to the album called, I think it was Astro Zombie.
Astro Creep.
Astro Creep. And I listened to that, and I really enjoyed that. And I should imagine that if Rob Zombie ever veered towards this style of music, it would be this. It would be a little bit like this because
he has done some dance remixes. I got a record of his. I'm selling it. It's fucking appalling. I literally don't try and do dance music. You don't know what you're doing.
Welcome to the Gav Hates Rob Zombie podcast.
I know, but it's just weird though because I am still a fan of some things he does.
Yeah. Well, we learn about the Mama clan. We learn who Mama is and that she controls all 200 levels of this floor. And that these perps were registered at level 39. So let's get on up there and find out what we can get from level 39. He says to her, do you not need your helmet if we're going in? And she says, no, because it will stop my psychic abilities. So,
well, yeah, because they've got the victims' addresses of these three guys who are squashed to the floor. And it's literally
level 39.
Who are the gangs that control this level? Right, where are they situated? Let's go knock on their door. So it's a fairly good way to start. It's a slight bit of detective work-ish, just out the box there.
So we get to level 39 in this apartment, and there's two guys in there who've gone in to buy some slow-mo.
Slow-mo raid.
They're just getting high, just as Judge Dredd kicks the door in and starts blasting everybody.
You'd be just slow-mo nodding your head going, fucking Dredd.
One of the guys who's high as fuck gets a bullet right through his cheek. It splits his whole face open, doesn't it, on the side?
Yeah.
It's pretty gnarly. Yeah, and as they walk in, the guy from The Wire, whose name I can't remember now, he's in. Do you ever watch The Wire?
No.
All right. The guy who was the skinner, the guy who skinned them, Mama's main guy. She reads his mind and she realizes that he was the one that skinned them.
Yeah,
so
she fingers him.
Hello. This is supposed to be about erections, not fingering, Gav. No. So Mama, it filters back to her that he has been arrested.
And he's a liability.
Because he knows some shit about her.
They know if he gets fucking talking, he'll sing like a fucking canary.
He will. And the thing that he knows is that slow-mo, which is sold in all the way through at Peachtree's block, is actually manufactured so that all of the slow-mo in the whole of Mega City 1 is manufactured in this block. Yeah. Fucking hell. And if he tells Dredd that...
Well, eventually they do find us out, don't they? So she said they do know this because she reads his mind, and Dredd just goes, interesting.
I love him. But also, you're right. It's always the rookie always gets the biggest, most amazing case on their first day. She's cracked open the entire drug problem for the whole of Mega City 1 in 1 hour. She's arrived,
and she does pass her assessment. Spoiler.
Of course she fucking does. She's a badass, and she didn't even need a helmet.
No,
that's so cool.
Yeah.
But she wanted to show off her lovely blonde locks as well.
We cut to this guy who really needs to get some daylight and have a break from his computer.
Fucking hell, he looks like your eldest when they get locked in their room for days on end.
Yeah.
Or me when I was 13 playing on my Sega for days on end.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's got bags under his eyes. He's like a skinny little vampire. Has he got robot eyes?
They're real dark. I think they're obviously just lenses.
They've been enhanced, I think.
I didn't know if it's because he sits there looking at that fucking screen all too.
No. I think we see like we see like a flashback where she cuts his eyes out. So I think she replaces his eyes.
Oh God.
So he's like Mr. CCTV, really. That's his job now. You know, Lando Calrissian's got that buddy who's got like the ears things. Yeah. He's like the eye version of that.
Yeah.
I love that you knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, that guy's funny.
You love that guy. I don't know why you like him so much.
I don't love that guy. It's not like I bring him up all the time. I love that dude, that guy on the side there with his fucking headset.
Lando Calrissian's buddy. He's just always listening to music next to him.
I've got my bedroom used to have posters of him everywhere. Just him.
Lando Calrissian's
my parents would be like, don't you want pictures of girls? No, I like Lando's buddy.
Lando's like, hey man, we got Han Solo arriving in a minute. Get everything ready. Can you hear me? Turn off that goddamn music. And he's just like, I can't hear you. I'm listening to the podcast on Haunted Hill.
Yeah.
There we go. Yes, so she doesn't want him to be interrogated. Mama does not want him to be interrogated.
She comes up with a plan.
She comes up with a plan, which is to put Peachtree's into DEF CON.
Basically, though, it just goes down to they didn't need to shoot all the security tower people, because what they could do once they finish this, they need to employ more people.
But Mama, she's angry. Angry woman. So what she does...
She's a dick.
So she brings the blast shields down. She goes one step further than the raid.
She gets some of her guys to go down to the control room, and just these 4 guys just sitting there talking about football, whatever they're talking about, having a sandwich and a cup of tea. Bang, 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 bang.
Why do you make everybody such a Londoner? No matter what the film is, you're always like, they're just sitting around having a cup of tea, fucking talking about fish and chips.
Well, that's what I do, isn't it?
Who the fucking hell is this guy?
Well, that's what I do, so it's not really, you know.
Oh, she's fucking done me.
She's fucking done me, ain't she, mate? Fucking hell.
Oh, Danny Dyer. God, I love
fucking Danny Dyer.
Yes, so they kill these security guys and they do the lockdown and they shut down all the blast shields. They shut the roof. The whole building basically could be protected against a nuclear strike. So that's what she does. She closes it up like you would if there was a nuclear strike to happen.
And her control man, we say this dude who needs a bit more sunlight, he rings up and he does pretty much I think they're sort of doing diehards, isn't it? It's sort of say, do you know there's a control thing going on? Yep, no worries. It's just we're just testing alarms today, just to let you know. It's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know.
Yeah, he really tricks them because they say, well, no, hang on a minute. I've got nothing here to say that you're going to be testing your nuclear, barricades today. And he's like, well, I can tell you for sure that it's happening. You know, don't make me come down. Da, da, da. And in the end, they're like, all right, okay,
no,
just go ahead.
God damn, I got my boss breathing down my neck here. Fucking do me a favour. I put those in 3 days ago. No, hang on. If I, you know, yeah.
So they're not going to be bothered by any cops for the foreseeable. Is what's happening. And Mama gets on the mic. Mama on the mic.
There's one bit just before this where they're standing there in the lift, Dredd, the rookie, and the perp, the guy they've got. And she goes, he's thinking about going for your gun. And he goes, uh-huh. Dredd goes, and he says, no, he goes, yep. And he says, oh, he's stopped thinking about going for your gun now. And Dredd just goes, yep. It's
he
so
knew it.
Cool.
He's
so cool. He's like,
just knew it.
I know he's thinking about going for my gun. Yep, I know he's stopped thinking about it. Yep.
It is really cool.
I love that. It's just a really easy little scene. Just that little thing. It's so good.
He's very funny in this. You wouldn't expect it.
It's very dry, just not supposed to be,
stuff.
but it comes across as you could look at it as humour.
So Mama on the mic, and she says to the whole building, similar to the raid, there's a couple of judges in here. Get them.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Kill them.
The skaters are stuck outside, by the way.
Yeah, they get locked outside. They're like, they don't care, man. They're high. They're just skating. They're like, cool, we get to start skating even longer.
It's going to get to the point when you have to shit over the side into the city.
They're about 200 floors up.
And you're just walking along and the shit just lands on your face.
Call the judge. So, gas grenades. All the gangsters start hunting them.
It's just basically, residents, stay the fuck out of the way until the shooting stops, all right? That's basically what she says.
And Dredd spots all the guys through the smoke and he says, we're going to have to go through them.
Yeah, but it's basically like, lockdown's not going to finish until they're dead. So come on, get on with it. Like, what the fuck?
One of the guys says, you're already dead.
See, this is like the gang, different gangs again, like the Warriors, like the other movie.
Yep. And he says, silence, switch your weapons to silencer mode. So they go silencer and the guns just go to silent mode. It's just fucking, I have it on silent mode all the time.
He throws, yeah, well, I guess you could do. He throws gas into them and then just goes and just sort of shoots them all by in the knees, it looks like. He doesn't look like he's actually killing them at first.
Yeah,
I presume later on he's like, well, I'm going to have to start killing them action now.
He shoots that little grenade thing in there, doesn't he? And that's where the guy goes, you're already dead. And he goes, thanks for the warning. And then he just takes them all out. And then there's one guy left in front of her.
I like the second gang bit with the stun grenade. He's like, you have 20 seconds to comply.
Yeah, that's RoboCop again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ed 209.
Yeah.
Surely they must have nodded some nods towards that here.
Absolutely. It even looks a bit like RoboCop's. Yeah, absolutely.
They break into a mother's apartment. And
we're about 30 minutes into the movie, I looked here, and the film is just fucking rolling along so quick.
It really flies by.
Like, wow, this is like non-action stuff. We're straight in the building. I really enjoy it.
So we should mention that Anderson has her first kill. She's killed other people in the field, but there's that guy in front of her, and he's like, make the judgment call, and she just blows his face off. Turns out that the apartment they go into happens to be, he was the husband of the woman in that apartment, because she looks at the photo of the little girl and the woman, and he's in it, and she thinks, oh shit, I just killed her husband, damn it. A bit of a coincidence, but hey, this is a comic book movie, that's fine, it is what it is. They're time
for the service lift.
Oh yeah, the service lift, that's right, they get into the service lift,
but they're seen on the CCTV
by Mama's goons,
and they get shut in an area where these cell doors come down on them. That's not good.
He gives this little speech. He says, Dredd leaves her with the hostage, Mama's henchman, and he says to her, if I don't come back, you don't want to get taken alive. You may want to consider saving a bullet for yourself.
Yeah.
Just some advice. And then he just walks off.
Well, the other guy later on, their perp they've still got, does kind of try to play with her mind and start saying, you should see what we do to some of the women, basically referring to raping her.
Yeah. He's not a nice guy, but he fucks with the wrong girl because...
Oh, later on.
When she gets in his mind later on,
it's because he does her though. He really fucks her mind. He starts thinking about her having sex. She goes, "Yes, you're trying to shock me by thinking about me having sex." And he goes, "No, if I was trying to shock you, I'd do this." Then she starts thinking about something because she's like, "What the fuck?" Smacks him with a gun. Think about that. Think about that.
Yeah,
but then
really
later on, she's like, "No, this is what's going to happen." And she goes into his mind and makes him piss himself.
He says to her, so you're a mutie then, if you can read my mind. So he's like, again, he's got something against mutants. It seems like everybody does, really.
He's trying to break a concentration, finding any way he can get looser. Which he does, though, in a bit.
Now, while Dredd is heading off on his own, there's some guys setting up these platform things on the ground, and we don't quite know what they are to begin with. Then we realise they've got about 6 of these gigantic miniguns.
Yeah, like in Predator.
But probably twice the size.
Yeah, with like laser bullets or something.
Fucking hell.
Like, whoa.
That, in the cinema, that must have been so loud, that scene.
Yeah.
Because it is definite. And they basically go through concrete. They take out dozens of innocent men, women and children who just live in all the apartments. And what the goal is with these miniguns is just to take out Dredd. So he has to get the fuck out of there as quickly as he can.
Luckily, shoots through the building, just jumps off the side of the building. Luckily, it's the mini ramp.
Yes, he lands on the...
That's a coincidence, but yes.
Yeah. And he meets the skateboarders, and they're just like, whoa.
And it's the first time he can use intercom, because he's not stuck in by the concrete structure. So he can get back to HQ to say to them, look, we need backup now. And they get backup. They've been alerted. Brilliant. That's just good, actually.
Now, I've got a fault here. He was outside, he's on the skate ramp, might be 100 stories up or something. Gets his intercom working, like you said. HQ, this is Judge Dredd, we're fucked, there's just me and Anderson here, building's on lockdown, I'm telling you everything that's going on. Alright, we'll try and get some of you as soon as we can. If I was him, I'd have been like, no, get me a futuristic fucking helicopter right now to come and pick me up from this ramp. That's all they needed to do.
I was wondering why that wouldn't be what's going on. Can you not got something?
Surely you've got something like.
But so it's that thing when in movies the times when the cops come along and go, oh, a little bit of safety. You think, oh, breath of fresh air, which essentially it is. But they're like, no, we're out of bullets, and if they come for us, we've got nowhere to go. So back in we go.
So he
element of surprise here, which I think he kind of wastes in that dramatic throwing someone off the balcony, but it's quite good.
It is good. I like it. And he interrogates Kay. And this is where he says, I think Mama's afraid of what you know. And this is where Anderson reads his mind. And then she does that whole mind game thing with him now, where he ends up pissing his pants and revealing through mind interrogation that this is the main manufacturer for slow-mo in the entire Mega City 1. Meanwhile, 2 judges arrive outside.
Before that interrogation, I do like that bit I was just saying though, where she's there, Mama's over the road thinking, dead, absolutely dead. They're just sitting there watching, waiting for the gang to go in to find the dead bodies, and he just storms out with one of the gang members, throws him out of the balcony, and just turns around and walks back in, which is a waste because he could have shot Mama from there.
It's like a big fuck you.
He didn't have a gun, but he could have got another gun. He could have shot Mama. But it's just, she's just like, what the fuck? He's still alive. Like, she must be going, how? How on earth is he still alive through that?
He should team up with Mad Dog from The Raid. They'd both be invincible, those two.
Yeah. But yeah, so after that,
2 judges outside.
Yeah,
they've just come to check on everything.
On ground floor, that is, yeah, because over here, so they sort of go up an intercom. Can you open the blast doors? Not blast doors, not Star Wars. Open up the just shield doors.
Well, it is like they are like blast doors.
Yeah, I say blast doors. Open up the blast doors, and they're like, no, we can't do that. We're doing a test. There's a fire alarm. There's a fire going on up here, but and it's just like, and it's like they know they've had the. Like, HQ have said, get down there, this is what's going on. So just open up the doors, but they won't open them up still. He
says, well, there's actually a fault. I can't get them to open at the moment. I'm really sorry about this. Meanwhile, Dredd says, let's go get Mama. Let's execute her.
Yeah.
I've got here 2 guys freeze. Oh, yeah, that's right. 2 guys turn out and go, freeze! And Dredd goes, why?
Yeah, it's 2 young kids. They basically see him and they go, "Oh, why didn't you shoot him?" "Oh, I don't know." And they go after him, and he's a freeze. Why do I want to do that?
That is like the biggest Clint Eastwood thing. That scene he's like, I can imagine Clint Eastwood having 2 kids put a gun on him and them going, "Freeze, Cap!" And he's like, "Why?"
But unfortunately, this gives the perp the upper hand and the distraction he needed, the misdirect, as in so he could take the gun from the psychic rookie and go straight into a lift which happens to be there. So I was about to say Robocop. Dredd has to quickly say to his gun, stun, and stuns the kids.
Yeah,
but too late. The lift is going up the floors.
It goes to level 200, in fact,
which we know is
the final level, the boss level.
Big boss.
Mama meets Anderson, and Dredd gets on the mic.
Starts rapping.
He says, "Listen, everybody." No, he doesn't. He gets on the mic and he says the classic, "I am the law," which was butchered by Sylvester Stallone in the other Judge Dredd movie.
I bet it was. But his voice is nothing on this.
It's one bit where he just says, "I'm the law." And everyone's like, what? That was the big line.
I'm the law.
It's like, sometimes you just got to say these things, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the law, It's like Rocky, I play Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, Rocky 5, Rocky Balboa, I play all the Rockies. I play Rambo. Judge Dredd. I'm the law. Crime is a disease, now I'm the cure.
Cobra?
Yeah.
Don't shoot.
I thought Robert Smith was the cure.
My mum will... was it? Stop.
My mum will shoot you, you're going to say.
My mum will shoot you.
I thought you were threatening me randomly.
I started trying to watch that movie again. It was one of my Sunday movies while I was cooking the kids some food and shit, like a meal. Sunday dinner. And I put it on and I couldn't do it. I stopped. It's about 25 minutes. Nah, I've watched this before. I didn't like it then either. Nah.
One of my favourites is Copland.
Oh, fucking brilliant. I was looking for a DVD for a while and I was just waiting until I found it in the charity shop. So I go, yay! I found it one day in this bargain bin box. And it took me a little moment to watch it and then watched it and I was like, I could watch that again. It's really got into the town and the story and I really sat and loved it. Yeah, it's a good film. Really good film.
But because he gets on the mic in this film, they are able to trace his location. And they think they've got him cornered in a phone booth. But what they don't know is that he's actually just got a bomb in there and blows a load of the baddies up when they approach it. They say, "What do we do next, Mama?" And she says, "Well, what we do in any situation like this, we call 911. And we think, as an audience, we think, what?
Bent coppers.
You're calling the police. But yes, it is dodgy cops. 4 judges arrive, so there's 6 of them now. They all enter the building, and the guy runs over and goes, "Hey, the guy from earlier, the Medi guy, says, hey, I can tell you exactly what the situation is."
No, because the two outside get shot by the four.
Did they kill them straight away?
Yeah, because they're not bent.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They turn up and they say, "Why aren't you inside?" So we can't get in. So he says, "Open up." And the doors open up and he looks at him and just walks in. But no, they shoot them.
That's right. And then they kill the Medi guy when he reveals, would you testify in court for that? And he's like, yeah, of course I would. And they go, not now, you won't.
Yeah.
And so, Medi guy's dead. And then it's revealed, these four dodgy coppers say, we'll get 1 million credits from Mama if we do this. 1 million split 4 ways. It's brilliant, that, isn't it? Mm. So that's what they're there to do. And Dredd starts stalking through the corridors slowly. It's great, just great visuals. Carl Urban really owns this role. You got the pumping industrial score. And he comes across one of the bad judges. And they say, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And it's
a Hans Gruber moment, basically.
It really is, isn't it? He says to him, "2 of us," because they have a quick conversation, and he says, "2 of us," and he goes, "You what?" And he says, "There was 2 of us, by the way," because the guy hasn't mentioned the other judge. He's just said, "Oh, thank God we found you. We've been looking for you." He doesn't say, "Where's your partner, Anderson?" So Dredd knows straight away that this is because he's too dirty Harry. He knows the score. You can't fuck with him. So they have a bit of a fight, and he kills the judge. He's had to kill one of his own, Gav.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he knows he's bent, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's all right. It's not too bad. He says, "Choke on that." Is that the one where he says that?
Might be.
He says, you could choke. The guy says something like, "You should choke on your words," or I don't know, and then he punches him in the throat. His throat caves in, and he just says, "Choke on that." I've never seen a man get his throat punched in before like that.
It's pretty full on.
I've seen Patrick Swayze rip a man's throat out in Roadhouse, but that was pretty full on. So Kay, the perp, he has Anderson tied up, and he's about to kill her. He's been given strict instructions not to rape her, not to do anything to her other than just kill her. Because they want to sort of make it look, I can't remember why, they're trying to set it up to look like something different. I can't remember what it is now, which he's disappointed about because he'd like to do other things because he's not a very nice person. He grabs her gun, picks it up, but of course the gun's got a built-in defense mechanism, hasn't it, Gav? And it senses that it's not a judge holding it.
Blows his hand off.
Blows his whole hand off.
Haven't you seen that in another film?
Blade's sword, if you pick up Blade's sword and you're not Blade, like loads of spikes fly out of it, and they chop that vampire's guy's hands off. So I think it's probably that.
Stephen Dorff, wasn't it? Blew his hand off.
It was not Stephen Dorff, it was the other guy.
Okay. The long-haired, gingery beard.
Guy with the beard, yeah. He's really annoyed. He's like, "I got his pig sticker," and then it just explodes his hand off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Rookie escapes.
Rookie escapes.
But Dredd and Rookie are both Dredd and Wookie. Dredd and Wookie.
There's a Wookie in this. You sounded like a truck. So Judge Dredd and Chewbacca team
up. They're separate, walking along.
We never saw Chewbacca come into this.
But they go to a drugs lab. There's another drugs lab in this one.
There is a drugs lab, so they're making more drugs. What happens next?
They sort of discuss it. Basically, he comes across the other cops, Dredd does, the other bent cops, and they have a little bit of a chat and discussion while hiding away. How much is it for me? He's like, it doesn't sound like much. He sort of says, how much is it for a judge nowadays?
He says it's 1 million credits split 4 ways, and Judge Dredd says... Much. He says split 3 ways now. So he kind of reveals.
His friend
the guy's happy for that.
The other guy, yeah. But this is where he uses gun lots, though, doesn't he? It's great.
He uses what?
His gun lots.
He
shoots through the wall to the person. It's really good.
What does he say? Armor piercing.
Yeah.
And it just blows through the wall, kills the guy.
Yeah, knows what to use. And he's basically, Dredd's just still going through his judges. He is the best judge.
He is the best. He's the number one judge, really. He kills one of them, and then Anderson shoots the female judge because she's about to kill Dredd. So that's fine. She's done and dusted. Dredd is shot through his armour, though, Gav. An armour-piercing bullet through the wall and into his sort of side, his stomach.
Yeah, I somehow missed that somehow. She does read the number lock she needs from that nerd, the computer nerd. She reads his mind when she captures him, doesn't she?
Oh yeah, that's right. So they can get through the door, and that's it.
But then she lets him go, and I was like, he's still complicit. It's like, I know he hasn't shot anybody, but
and that's one of the reasons why she would have failed her assessment. Yeah. That and the fact she had a gun taken off her at one point. He glues up his wound though. He's got that special stuff that glue that he pours in it. It expands, and then he puts these little staples in that staple themselves shut on his stomach. That's pretty cool. It's a bit of a Rambo move. He's like a Predator. He is like the Predator. Nice little bit of a move. Now we've got. Oh yeah. Now he says, "I've got full ammo now," because he was about to run out of ammo, wasn't he? But now he's got full ammo, and he says, "So are you ready? Ready? Let's go." They grab the Crazy Eyes guy. He gives them the keypad control, like you said. They have a massive shootout. It's a great scene here, just taking out people left, right, and centre. And again, with these movies, we're not doing them any justice. It's about the visuals with these action movies.
We can't. Yeah, we could maybe say it more actionally and excitedly like this.
Well, they find Mama in the next scene, Gav, and Anderson is shot. Can you believe it? No, I can't do this. Anderson gets shot, and Mama wants to blow. Basically, she says, "I'm going to blow the top 50 stories of this building." Because that's how I roll.
Well, she's got that wrist, hasn't she? That wristwatch, which is attached to her heartbeat.
If her heartbeat stops, then it blows the top 50 floors.
Dredd still doesn't give a shit, though, does he? Do you think that signal's going to still go where it's right down there? Which I still thought might have taken off, but he's right, though. If the signal goes out of range, it's not a trigger for it to go off. It just means it's gone out of range. It's probably the best way of stopping it, really.
But a bit out of character for Dredd. He's about to throw her off the balcony. Because he's basically judge. He
does what she does.
He's going to execution her now. He's going to execute her. So
gives her slow-mo.
Gives her some slow-mo.
Yeah.
And the last thing Mama sees as she falls...
Just her face going into the concrete in slow motion.
Oh, man, that bit is... And do you notice that when she hits the concrete, the blood...
Her hand down a little bit, yeah.
The blood sort of forms the same X that's on Judge Dredd's helmet.
Oh, okay.
Over the camera. So yeah, she splats face first into the ground, 200 floors down. But of course, it all looks very pretty at the beginning because she's all slow motioned. Judge and Anderson leave. She gets patched up, and he says to her, "Assessment over."
And the chief cop comes in, and sort of says, just like, just pass. Yeah. But she doesn't want to, though, does she?
He says, "I knew she would."
But she's a bit like, no, I'm fucking out of this. I don't want to do this. So...
And then the final bit is just him sort of saying, "And to this day, the only ones fighting for justice are the judges."
Yeah.
And that's it, man. And it's brilliant. It's super violent.
Yeah.
I love an adult comic book movie, whether it's Blade, or this or whatever, RoboCop even, I would say. It's got that RoboCop element, definitely. It really does. You think you summed it up, really. Dirty Harry, RoboCop, all those kind of good movies mixed into one, really.
Yeah.
It's just... Carl Urban is what really sells this for me.
Does a good job. Stubble looks good on him.
Yeah, he's got a great chin for it. He's quite tall and imposing. And I really like the woman that plays Anderson, Olivia Thirlby. And I don't really think I've ever seen her in anything else, but she's really good in this. Just all round, great movie, great cast, great soundtrack, great action. And I find it hard. I struggle to say which I prefer out of The Raid or this, really.
I prefer this. From watching them again, I thought this was the one which made me a lot more excited. I had more fun with this one. The other one I do like very much, but I had more fun this time with this one, where I used to think it would have been the other way around, but I've changed.
This was only the second time, or maybe third time I've seen this.
Okay.
The Raid I've probably seen about a dozen times. It's one of those ones that you kind of watched a lot when it first came out. I actually still lean more towards The Raid.
Okay.
But having watched this again, I'm definitely going to watch this again soon. I actually had to buy this because I couldn't find it streaming anywhere. I didn't want to be a naughty pirate. So I actually picked up a copy of a nice little DVD. I haven't bought a DVD for quite some time.
I watched this not that long ago, actually, so it was fairly fresh. So.
Yeah. And it's really good. And if you guys haven't seen Dredd,
check it out.
And we're not talking about the Judge Dredd from the 90s, although if you want to have a laugh at that, then go check that out. But this is the better, and it's really good. It's got that gritty feel that you get with those like District 9 type films that are all shot in South Africa. Do you know what I mean? Elysium. It's got that grittiness to it, that Robocopness, and it's just fun. Good fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there we go.
There we go.
Two mighty erections conquered.
Indeed. Right.
Talking of erections.
Bill Murray,
here you are. Come on in and introduce us.
Hi, welcome back to World of the Strange.
World of the Strange. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Bill, for doing what you do every episode.
Thank you,
just introducing us. Funny you should mention Willie, actually, Kev. Because World of the Strange. We've covered The Raid. We've covered Dredd. 2 films about conquering, scaling buildings, giant buildings, high rises, or erections.
Okay.
And I thought it might be an interesting thing to look at some
erections.
Some erections, basically. And I am talking about penises.
Okay.
So I do have some facts about erections to kick things off. And then to round up, I thought I'd take a look at some funny stories. I'm looking at erections right now.
Okay.
Delete history. There we go. So, first fact. People with penises have 3 to 5 erections per night. Do you know that? During your sleep?
Per night? No, I didn't know it would be that many.
So during your REM sleep, your rapid eye movement sleep, you get 3 to 5 erections. My
parents' dog. I was out with my dad going for a walk yesterday. My parents' dog took a shit, and he's a young lad. He's very hyper. Has no training because my parents are useless. And he's having a shit. And I was like, "Why has he got a boner?" He had a boner while he was having a shit. And it's like, oh,
it's weird,
dude. It's just like all types of visuals I don't need right now.
Oh, God. Well, that's fact number 1. Fact number 2 is that you can break your penis.
Yeah, I knew a guy who had problems, had to go to hospital straight away. Did something to his dick while having sex.
It's not a bone, obviously, because it's not a bone, even though it's called a boner. But instead, what happens is you burst the blood vessels within the penis, which basically causes purple, painful swelling, and that is called a break of the penis.
I don't want to get to like crude and stuff, but when you're having sex in that sort of time, like occasionally it sort of comes out and it gets bent a bit because it doesn't go back in properly.
Well, funny enough,
it's quite scary, to be honest with you.
1/3 of penile fracture cases are attributed to sexual intercourse when the partner is on top. So you're right.
I know. I do get the fear once in a while.
Erections can happen very early, as in the womb.
Yeah, no, see, I having a son, I remember him as a baby, changed his nappy, and I was just like, the hell? The fuck's going on there? What the fuck's this? I had no idea. So I was like, get over here to the kid's mum, Elijah's mother. And yeah, oh no, what? And I had to look into it, and it was actually a really weird thing for my head to get around, just to like, Why has he got a boner?
Yes, my son.
It's weird.
The first proper nappy he did when they're a few days old and they do that proper poo, was combined with his belly button falling off, like the last bit of his, umbilical cord, and a boner. So I had like a triple whammy, and I said to Alice, I don't know if I'm cut out for this.
It's just bizarre.
But this fact I'm talking about is in the womb. So boys in the womb
get boners
in the third trimester of pregnancy you can get a boner 1 to 3 times per hour, up to 3 an hour when you're in the womb.
Oh my god!
Just being a baby.
Oh my god!
Mental.
Aren't boners are so annoying though? Like the times when you have those embarrassing moments, it's like, oh.
Well, we'll get to those stories.
Oh, okay.
Hold any stories you might be willing to reveal.
Oh, I don't think I have any of myself. Really, I can't really think of.
As discussed, the penis isn't a bone, and it's not a muscle. It's composed of 3 sponge-like cylindrical chambers, which gradually fill with blood when you feel aroused. This results in increased pressure, which prevents blood from flowing out of the penis, causing an erection.
Right.
3 cylinders. There we go. We're all learning here. The average erection is 5.1 to 5.5 inches long.
Okay.
5.1 to 5.5.
I did measure mine once upon a time. I can't remember. I think every male probably has measured their erection. Dan. Of course you have. I don't remember the figure.
Got the microscope out and I had a little look. And I thought, I'm depressed.
I got a telescope out.
Oh yeah. Well, the wrong way around, so you look for it. You cannot change the length or size of your penis without medication or with medication or exercise. You can only do it through an operation.
Of course, exercise.
So if you're ever on a website,
I'm going to run my cock bigger.
If you're ever on a website, I don't know what website you'd be on, where you get an advert coming up going, "Want a big cock? Try buying these pills."
I keep getting right now all the time. Erectional dysfunctional erection.
I've been getting these adverts,
and I'm thinking like
I told Alice about this today because the video one on YouTube.
I sent a picture to Sarah saying I don't need this.
There's a video one with a guy today, and it came up on YouTube halfway through a video I was watching, and a guy goes, "I used to struggle to get hard in my early 20s, but that was
aggressively."
Yeah, and I was like, Jesus Christ! And I wondered
now
if it was because
I've got testosterone again.
I wondered if it was because I was reading this article and the algorithms are like, "Oh, he's reading about this."
It must be, but why is it? Why me?
Why you as well? Don't know.
The wind has to change, and I've got a boner.
Oh,
I'm like I was 15.
You said this before.
I can't help it.
Right. So there's something called erectile dysfunction.
Indeed, there is.
And it increases with age. It's a common problem that affects many young men.
I've got a friend who it always happens when he's drunk.
What, he can or he can?
Yeah, they can't because he's drunk.
According to a 2021 study, approximately 11% of sexually active men between the ages of 18 to 31 report that they've experienced mild erectile dysfunction, while nearly 3% reported experiencing moderate to severe. So, what we're saying, guys, is it is common. It does happen.
And it's going to make you super unhappy, I'm sure.
Yes, especially if you're in a situation where there's an expectation on you. You're with a person, a partner.
Pressure. There's always a pressure. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes it's sex from both parties.
Yeah. What I would say though is the next fact. It is relatively serious. We do sometimes do serious things, but we care about our listeners, and we care about our listeners with penises. And this one is for you guys.
And ladies, if you're your male partners and they feel a bit embarrassed, they can go get help.
The reason I say that is because I just wanted to mention, before we get into the fun stuff, that erectile dysfunction can signal a serious health problem as well. It can be the sign of a bigger issue: cancer, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol.
Mental illness, stress.
Yeah, if you experience it a lot, if you realise if it's becoming more than just a one-off, or every now and again, or only when you're drunk. Because if it's happening when you're drunk, maybe you should probably cut back a bit on the booze, perhaps. But if it's happening more than regularly, please don't be embarrassed to go to your doctor, where they've seen and heard a lot worse than anything you could. I can promise you, doctors have seen and heard a lot worse. Go see them, because if you don't and you miss one of those, it's the signs of one of those things I've just mentioned. This can be a lot more serious further down the line. So that's my little serious bit I just wanted to do. That's not really. Now, you don't need to achieve an erection to have an orgasm, Gav. Did you know that?
Is that like that song? We don't need to take our clothes off to have a good time. Oh,
yeah.
No. So
apparently, it's possible to ejaculate or reach orgasm without an erection. I don't know. I don't know how.
You get those serial killers that come sometimes when they first do their first killing, and they have an orgasm.
Yeah, but they've
probably got a boner as they're doing the slicing and dicing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yes, you can't come with a normal flaccid penis.
A normal. I mean, you can apparently.
Oh, you can.
That's what I'm saying. You can.
Sorry. Wow.
Anxiety, smoking, drinking, stress, all the things you said, alcohol, drugs, these can all cause erectile dysfunction. Like I said, go to the doctor if it's becoming a problem. Don't leave it, guys, or people with penises. Don't leave it, because we care at the Haunted Hill. We care about old man cock and young man cock.
Since episode 1.
Just cock.
You don't say young man cock. It sounds really weird.
Oh,
old man cock sounds slightly weird, but young man cock sounds really weird.
Let's get into some bonus stories.
How did you come across this for today's World of the Strange?
Erections.
World of the boners. Right, World of the willies.
I've got a couple of short tales of boners. Boners gone wrong.
Of your own?
Not of my own.
Right.
There was one time, I will tell a story. Oh God, I hope none of my family listened to this. Where I was in maths class, and I was a bit tired, and I was feeling a bit sleepy actually. Got a bit all relaxed, and teacher was droning on, and then X equals Y with the.
And you fell asleep.
And I didn't fall asleep, but I kind of like, that thing where you drop a little bit, and then as I was waking up, I had a bit of morning glory, even though it wasn't the morning, it was probably the afternoon, and I thought, oh no, what do I do here? And then somehow one of the girls from across the class, because it was non-uniform day, I remember I was wearing jeans, and the way that it was in my jeans, it was really obvious what was happening in my jeans. And one of the girls in my maths class said, Daniel Bone's got a boner. And then everyone started going, Boner's got a boner. Boner's got a boner. And I was in maths going, I haven't. And luckily it did. It was almost like my willy listened to me and very quickly deflated.
Oh, it's very, very amazing how quickly a boner can go in a certain situation. I've had many times with children
run in the room
or something is gone.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that was one of my stories that I don't know if I'll ever tell anymore. But
we've all as males had at times swimming trunks or tracksuit bottoms things on, and it's happened in the wrong place. You're like, I've got a boner. I don't know what I can do. And like, I'm gonna have to wait a moment. Like, for fuck's sake, I can't think of anything. No, not like embarrassing enough that it springs.
I have got a story which I don't know if I should tell.
Yeah, but you go now.
I accidentally hit someone in the head with it.
How? A general passerby? What was going on?
I was on the bus travelling.
What? How's your cock out on the bus?
Travelling long distance from Birmingham to Bristol. So my wife is from Birmingham. We've been visiting her family. Similar thing. I'd fallen asleep on the bus.
You shouldn't fall asleep in public.
I woke up just as we arrived at our destination, Bristol, back in my home city.
And this wasn't long ago then?
It was about 5 or 6, 7 years ago.
I'm intrigued with what's going to happen.
I stood up because everyone was like, time to get off the bus. Everyone was ushering them off the bus. Alice woke me up. Like, come on, quickly. We're here now. And as I was walking down the aisle, I realised what was happening in my underwear. And I thought, oh, no. And then a person needed to someone needed to get past me. So I started walking sideways down the aisle. And as I turned around, I swung round. I hit a lady in the back of the head. But she obviously didn't realise. She thought it was probably my leg or something. But I hit her in the back of the head with my covered penis erected. And I told Alice about it. She said, I can't believe... My wife said to me, she wasn't my wife at the time, but she said to me, I can't believe you've hit a woman in the head with your bus boner. She called it my bus boner.
I'm just picturing you trying to be polite and moving the other way so your boner doesn't hit the lady there, and you literally turn around and you hit the woman in the head.
She didn't know. I hope.
He still did it, regardless of her knowledge.
I didn't mean to do it, though.
I'm not saying that. I'm not giving you some sort of hashtag Dan Bones
cancel him.
A bus boner. Cancel him.
Cancel him now.
I'm just saying, it's incredible.
Well, there we go. So if you ever get a bus with me anywhere, just watch out.
Expect a boner. Yes.
Only if I nod off a bit. I don't know why I smoke when I nod off.
I'm really happy you told us. Listeners, that was good, wasn't it? Any boner stories, send them in. We'll read them next time.
It's the way you said it, like a DJ, a radio DJ. Any bonus stories?
We need a new segment.
Boners.
If anybody gets us any bonus stories or even sexual related stories, we could do a new series column.
This could replace Time Team.
That's what I'm saying.
Catch up.
Bonus stories.
Oh God. Right. Well, let's get to these other stories that aren't related to us in any way. So the first one is called the pool party. When I was in high school, I went to a pool party and I got a boner because I was checking out some girls in bikinis. Normally, this wouldn't be a problem, except on this particular day, a good friend of mine thought it'd be a good idea to have a chicken fight, which, as we know, is when you get someone on your shoulders and they have to kind of push each other off, that kind of thing. So he hoisted me on top of his shoulders. So there I am, sitting on top of my friend's shoulders with a massive boner resting on the back of his neck. He realised what was going on after a few seconds and shouted out, "What the fuck, dude?" and then told everyone at the party. So imagine that. You're like, oh shit, I'm in the swimming pool. Then your buddy jumps under the water, gets under your legs and says, "We're doing a chicken fight." Puts you on his shoulders, and then he realises,
you up. Yeah.
Oh God, you've got a boner.
But the worst of it is, though, probably when he did it, and because the boner doesn't know what it is, pushing against it, giving it the sensations, probably made him feel all right.
Yep. This next one is called A Family Affair.
It's a family affair.
Starts off with the sentence, "My brother was jerking off in front of his computer."
Great.
He heard our mum coming down the hallway. This is when the family computer was in the office, where he barely ever went, so she would pretty much know what he was doing if he was caught. He tucked his boner into his waistband. He walks past her, and she goes, "Oh, son, you're getting so skinny." She lifted up his shirt and saw the top of his boner. Apparently his brother said, "Fuck you, Mum," and ran away. And it's never been spoken of since.
Oh no. I have got a story though, it's reminded me.
Oh God. Go on then.
So, excuse the wording, pitched a tent in the back garden, literally a tent, not mine. And I was, because it was, I don't know, maybe 14, 35, I don't know. And I was sleeping out in the back garden, as you do, you know, and had things out there. But I had a porn mag.
Oh God!
So I was in the tent, you know, thought my parents were at work.
Oh God!
And then all of a sudden,
this was in the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was like summer holidays or something. And all of a sudden, I hear, "Gavin," my mum's home, walking towards the tent.
Oh God!
So I had to obviously put the magazine under the pillow as quick as I could and just lay forward. So my bum's just sticking out, my trousers and pants on my back of my legs. So I had to just sort of say, "Oh, I'm just enjoying the heat." I didn't know what to say.
So your trousers were pulled down
kind
a
of
bit.
Sunbathing, I thought I could get away with that sort of thing, but just the heat. So yeah.
She knew.
I couldn't pull it up in time. Literally, the tent flaps were open.
Oh God!
And
never leave your flaps open, Gav.
So they weren't. They were shut. So that's a bonus story, which is just as like. Oh. So there you go. I helped you out along with yours.
There you go.
I've never told that story. I've never really thought of that story until then.
Thank you. And like I said, your mum would have known.
Please, guys, listeners, give us some stories so we don't feel alone in this.
Next story is called The Teacher's Pet.
My mum would have definitely known. Oh, God.
Next story is called The Teacher's Pet.
Okay.
When I was 12 in boarding school, I was talking to a teacher who was a woman with my friend. He was only wearing boxers. Suddenly...
Why was he only wearing boxers?
Don't know.
That's a bit weird.
Teacher is a bit inappropriate. Suddenly he got a boner and it slipped out of his pants.
Oh my God.
He didn't notice, but me and the teacher did, and we just stared at each other and both went very, very red. We stood there for about 2 minutes.
Not saying anything, looking at each other's eyes.
While the boner guy kept on talking.
Oh, I got a train for Christmas.
But surely, if I got a boner in front of my teacher,
you'd feel the air.
You would.
You do.
I think this guy knew that it popped out.
Even if you just leave your fly open by accident, you go outside, you know something's slightly wrong. There's a slight temperature change somewhere. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Can't be walking with the cage open.
The mouse is out of the house. But this guy knew, I think. I think he knew what was going on.
Secretly, they don't know that my boner was sticking out. Maybe one of them will grab it and tug on it.
Instead, they just went really red. The next one is called Feeling the Burn.
Oh, burning your boner.
When I was in 7th grade, I was on the track team.
What age is 7th grade?
I'm not sure.
No, I don't know if American education. I'm not sure.
Let's
are you looking? Okay. I'm sure American listeners are shouting.
It is 11 to 12.
7th grade, 11 to 12. Okay.
So I was on the track team. We were doing the stretch where you lay flat on the ground on your stomach, or in my case, boner up. So you lay, and then it says this one smoking hot senior girl who I had a crush on came over. My 13-year-old self couldn't handle it, and to my horror, I began to rock a half chubby. She walked over to me and said, and asked me why I wasn't doing the same stretch as everybody else. So he stayed on his front. Everyone else was doing the other stretch. I made up some bullshit excuse, and she says, well, the entire group won't go on until you've done the stretch, so you have to do the stretch, otherwise we're not going to go on. Everybody looked around at me. She pushes me down. This doesn't help the boner any further. It makes it harder, in fact. I managed to clamp it between my legs.
Oh no, at some point it's going to spring out, isn't it?
Everyone watches while I hold the stretch for about 10 seconds, but 5 seconds into this situation, my boner pops out from between my legs. Everybody on the entire track team saw this happen. I've gone bright red, ran away, as everyone starts laughing. The senior girl, the last thing I saw when I looked over my shoulder was the senior girl looking really sad for me. Fucking hell.
Oh, bless him.
He had a boner.
Running along with his little boner.
Next story is called Rigor Mortis.
Okay.
You looked a bit disappointed.
I don't know how this is gonna go. It doesn't conjure good thoughts, that's for sure.
I used to do this creativity competition called Destination Imagination in middle school that involved a lot of building and craft. My team did an Egyptian theme, and since I was the biggest one on the team, we used my body as the mould for a life-size sarcophagus. They laid me down on the driveway and wrapped me up in saran wrap. they started applying all the paste stuff.
He's into bondage, isn't he?
Unluckily for me, my middle school body decided to go against my brain and produce a giant boner, which is almost impossible to fix when you're lying on your back, facing up, your hands strapped to your side with saran wrap. Apparently, he says, I have a fetish of being wrapped up like a baked potato.
Yeah, that's what I said, bondage. As soon as you started doing it, I knew what was going to happen.
You discovered that. When did you know you were into this then, love? Oh, it's when I was a kid. I was lying on the driveway. They wrapped me up in cling film and Bob's your uncle. Boing.
Yeah. So maybe being wrapped in cling film might be alright.
The next story is called Trick or Treat.
Okay.
Halloween, obviously. I took my younger brothers to my neighbour's house, the youngest of whom I was carrying. The neighbour was wearing a very skimpy Spider-Man outfit. The boner caused my mind to wander, and I almost dropped my little brother. He used my boner as a foothold to keep himself up. So much shame and pain that day, and I now hate Halloween. So he's holding his brother. He got a boner over his neighbour's skimpy Spider-Man outfit.
He slightly drops it. His brother was going, brilliant, there's a foothold.
There's a branch, I'll stand on this.
Didn't think any more of it, stood and went up. He went, ow! She looked back, and he's going, hi!
She's thinking, what's he stood on?
Well, why is he screaming? What's wrong with him?
Ooh, I've never had anyone use mine as a branch, I must say.
It is quite hard with children. No, that sounds wrong. It's quite difficult for children when events like that happen. It's just obviously because you can't control it sometimes.
Yeah. Well, that's the word of the erections. Any final thoughts on erections before we go? I'm so sorry to our listeners for this one. It's
a different one. I don't know. I don't really have a final thought. It's not the end of church.
Just be careful where you get hard-ons, guys.
But we can't help it.
But if you do, tuck it in your waistband or pop it between your legs.
Silence the lambs.
And watch out for women in skimpy Spider-Man outfits.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, thanks for that.
No worries. Bill, did you enjoy that? Oh, that's what he meant about the 2 blue pills. He's put poo pills in our whiskies tonight.
Poo pills?
Yeah, Viagra.
Oh, 2 pills.
Blue pills.
I thought you said poo pills.
Poo pills. How long is this going to last, Bill?
7 or 8 hours.
It's not going
to... On the Osbournes one time, Ozzy Osbourne was moaning that he'd taken a couple of tablets and Sharon went to sleep and he had to stay up all night with this massive boner. He was pissed off. Because devil have a boner.
I can't do a piss.
But that's well
he wouldn't be able to do a wee, would he? You'd have to do a sit-down wee.
It's just so annoying, like weeing with a boner.
It's very hard to do.
It's just frustrating. It's really just like occasionally you can do it, but...
Well, there we go.
There we go.
This episode, we've covered everything from KRS-One's shitting right round to pissing with a boner.
I know. Okay,
Bill,
then. Let's get out
please
of it.
take us out of here.
That's all the time we've got for this week on World of Strange. Next week, though, gimme Ira. Hairless pets. Weird.
And we're back again. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and non-gendered people, obviously. Thank you for listening, coming along with us in this little journey, listening to Dan and Gav talk about their boner stories and things.
Yeah, it took a bit of a turn this episode. It went from two action,
I know,
movies to dicks.
If this is your first time listening to this show, it kind of goes like this. Don't know why.
Yeah.
But I think people don't mind. So
yeah, sometimes dicks. That's the way it goes. So yeah, I had fun. It was good to do stuff that was not straight horror. This was a bit more.
But next time,
stuff.
Dan.
Next time is
brace yourselves, listeners.
So episode 120 continues a tradition started many years ago. We've been going over 8 years now. We started Easter episodes. We started with Alien and Critters. We moved on the following year to Aliens and Critters 2.
Yep.
We moved through those franchises. We've even done Alien vs Predator. Yeah, Donnie Darko was
not AVP
in it.
AVP 2.
We're not going to do that one.
No.
But we started 2 years ago with a movie about a little Irish fella, because St. Patrick's Day is often around Easter, and we felt it was fitting. So we started with Leprechaun. Last year we did Leprechaun 2. We have got a treat for you guys for our next episode. Episode 120. We're not bringing you one, we're bringing you 2 Leprechaun movies. We're going to be covering Leprechaun 3 and Leprechaun 4 in space. You know you've hit gold
in space in
a franchise like Amityville only just got there.
I don't know what to say.
Well, you will next time we record, because
Yep.
I remember it in space really well.
I have no idea anything about it at all.
Right. Well, and those aren't the last Leprechaun movies, because next year we'll be covering Leprechaun in the Hood and Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
That's just weird, but yeah.
With Ice-T.
Anyway, come along.
So that's episode 120. That'll be fun. And then after that will be my birthday episode.
And you've chosen some right bangers.
Yeah, I'm going to just say what it is right now, actually, because I want people to be excited. So episode 121 after that will be my birthday episode. I have chosen 2 Arnold movies. We're going to be looking at The Running Man and Total Recall.
We're looking at sci-fi.
Yeah, sci-fi with Arnie.
80s sci-fi Arnie.
Very good, violent action films.
Really fun, especially Verhoeven's Total Recall, obviously RoboCop, so yeah, really interesting.
And of course Stephen King wrote The Running Man under the name of Richard Bachman, so the original novel was written by him, so that's a little bit of a horror nod as well. So yeah, a couple of good things coming up. Leprechauns and Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can't really get much more exciting than those 2 things combined. Who would win in a fight out of a Leprechaun and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, correct answer. So
yeah, there's no competition, is there?
He got in a car crash the other day, didn't he? And he got out of it absolutely unscathed. The car was completely totaled. And I said to my dad, imagine being in the car crash and the car's like really crumpled up and crushed, and he just gets out. You think, oh shit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's alright though, he's uninjured. Okay, so before we say goodbye, we are going to do our usual bits of admin. So as always, the podcast on Haunted Hill is a proud member of Legion Podcast. You can find out more about them on legionpodcast.com, as well as the many other amazing shows on the network, whether horror or otherwise. If you're into movies and fun things and cult and chatting nonsense, we're the guys here over at Legion. You can email us directly at the podcast on Haunted Hill at outlook.com, or you can message Gav and I on Facebook, or you can just go on Facebook and search for our page, which is where we are most active, the podcast on Haunted Hill. Just go there and join our little community.
On Instagram, anything. Send us your bonus stories.
Yeah, not your boners, just your bonus stories.
No, we never did get any naked pictures from anybody, did we?
If you want us to read them out, we actually genuinely will.
Oh yeah, we can do it anonymously too.
Yeah, we have to
but that'd be brilliant.
You can also find out more about Legion Podcast by going to the Legion Podcast page on Facebook as well. Mm-hmm. And we're available on anywhere you find what are these things called? Podcasts. Spotify, YouTube, Apple, all of these things. And please, we ask every time, leave us a review. Rate us. I believe on Spotify you can rate us as well now. Love to that. And Twitter at Haunted Podcast, Instagram, the podcast on Haunted Hill Insta. Also need to mention our little production company, Deadbolt Films. Comet. We have got a couple of comics, a couple of podcasts.
Can I say very quickly right now, Abyssal Albion, which is the newer episode which they're trying to crowdfund right now, is halfway through its campaign, so it's trying to get some money for that. So if you're into H.P. Lovecraft inspired type comic craziness things, that is being funded, so I should really say that it's on the crowdfunding page. If you go on Deadbolt Facebook page, you'd probably see it or stuff.
Abyssal Albion, and the first 2 comics were amazing, so I'm really excited for the third one as well. Artwork's amazing, story's amazing on that one. Yes, just find out more about us on deadboltfilms.com. We have a YouTube channel. Just search for Deadbolt Films, and Instagram Deadbolt Films, and Twitter is at Deadbolt Films. And finally, if you really want to support us a little bit more than normal, you can become a patron supporter and donate something even as little as £1 a month to help out. It really does mean the world to us if you do that, because all this sort of money goes towards helping us with equipment and other bits and bobs along the way. We also reward our patrons by giving them a t-shirt, and it allows us to be able to produce more merch if we get that money coming into the pot. So if you want to do that, just jump on Patreon, search for the podcast on Haunted Hill. You can also become a Legion patron as well. Same thing, Legion podcasts on Patreon. And as always, I want to thank by name individually each of our patron supporters. Because we love them. We love them.
Yes.
And that is, thank you very much to Don Collier, Matthew Godley, Jamie Jenkins, Kevin S. Fife, Sarah Kay, Rachel, RJ McCready, and Lex Boo. And to each and every one of you guys, and to everybody listening, thank you ever so much for putting up with the bonus stories.
Yeah, thanks.
I leant forward when I said that.
Well, thank you very much, patrons. Do appreciate it. And thank you, listeners, for listening. Give us your time.
So it's a good night from Sylvester Stallone's helmet.
It's Sylvester Stallone's helmet. Yeah, good night from Dredd's helmet.
Yeah. Imagine Judge Dredd, but with dreads.
Yeah.
That should be a thing. Someone must have done that. Judge Dredd, and he's got dreadlocks.
I'm sure there's someone's done that.
Someone's got that. All right, well, good night from Dreadlocks.
good night from Mad Dog.
Oh, God. And it's a good night from a couple of Mighty Erections.
Good night from you, and good night from me. We are both Mighty Erections.
We are massive dicks. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Good night. Thank you for listening to the podcast on Haunted Hill. We will be back again real soon.